here for Grambling as he brings his club to attention after a missed field goal with 1st and 10 at the 20. Pitch back to White. A flag is down as White reaches the 20, and Winston-Salem spread that out pretty nicely. Penalty down, that time Darrell Wilson, number 32 from Mocksville, North Carolina, for Winston-Salem on the corner. Was out there and never let that one get outside. Penalty looks like it's going to go against Grambling. At least that's their indication as they start backing up. Hayes, by the way, will come to this possession 4 of 8 for 108. And again, Williams has had himself a great afternoon already, catching the ball 3 for 90 yards already. Williams, just a junior, coming in with 524 yards, a big day.
Holding, offense, 10 yards from previous spot. Repeat first down.
So as Grambling tries to spring that out on the outside, you can probably see this out here on the outside. 51.
Yeah, there it is right there. Really nice takedowns, man.
That's on Raw Monday, though, isn't it? That's takedowns up there. It's a first down and 20 yards to go for Grambling. Back is Hayes. Oh, the poise in the world. He throws it over to Anderson at the 30-yard line. Well, I tell you what, you got to love this Hayes back in that pocket. He is tough. Quite brings Anderson down after a big gain, though. Get it all the way out to the 30-yard line as he threw that one about 20 yards on a string here.
And Sam, Andrew Face, the defensive coordinator for Winston-Salem, can't be happy. You're in a deep situation of 1st and 20. And look at that. There's no white shirt around. There's no white shirt around Hayes. And he puts another strike right on the money to Scotty Anderson.
Hargraves finally the man that came up and made it as you look at the numbers here on Hayes. And off to White. Trays in the secondary. White gets a total of him and drops him down after a 13-yard gain. I tell you, they were talking a lot about Michael Young as one of the top running backs for them, and then they say, no, no, no. It'll be the freshman Trey White. You'll see why when the game starts.
Doug Williams told me that this is a kid that's going to be good. He's just a freshman at 6 feet 1 inches tall, but he runs with a lot of balance. Caught Winston-Salem a little blitz and goes right past him on the draw play. Good call by the Golden Gophers. How about that? That's by the Grambling Tigers.
1st and 10 for the Tigers. Hayes this time waits for White on the draw. Slants it to the outside. He'll gain about 4 yards. You know, this Grambling club is, you really can call them Road Warriors. They are 3-1 so far in Classics. They started off in the Chicago Classic, won there over Alcorn. They went to New Jersey where they lost to Hampton 27-7, that in the Whitney Young Classic. Then they went to Dallas for the Whitcomb Classic there, won 47-19 over Prairie View. They were in Shreveport for the Red River Classic. They beat UAPB there. And then playing here in San Diego against Winston-Salem. And then, of course, we'll play in the Bayou Classic against Southern coming up later in the month. So the Road Warriors, who play very few games on their home field in Grambling.
Love to have their freaking fly.
Back is Hayes, 2nd down. About 6. Nice little throw to the outside, and a nice catch made as they'll lock that one in. And Grambling working to perfection this time. Jason Arrington on the nice catch. Fingernailed that one out of bounds at the 40.
Jason Arrington, the sophomore out of New Orleans. And again, the ability to throw deep is now making Winston-Salem's linebackers and defensive backs have to play and respect that. You can make the play fake. It is an Arrington right out of the backfield. Picked up about 12 yards on a nice little flare pass.
One thing the Winston-Salem Rams were hoped they would get was a big rush by Thomas Washington and on the other side by Corey Williams. I don't think they've gotten anything close against that offensive line for Grambling today.
Grambling's line's done a good job.
They really have. They have blocked well, as they do now against Hayes, for Hayes. And again, he throws this one over the middle, and it's complete. They get one of their big tight ends coming right over the middle. Number 89 is Fred Coggins. And Coggins, a senior out of Columbia, South Carolina, Marion High School, makes a great catch and takes it down inside the 20.
Big as a word, comes right up the line of scrimmage. A little chuck right there by the linebacker, but that's not good enough. This kid's 6'4", about 250, and a floater right over the line.
So a 1st down on the refusing of the penalty against Winston-Salem. You talked about that good size all around on their wide receiver, and particularly their tight ends, as you mentioned, 6'5", 250 there. And good hands. He just caught that one over the shoulder nicely.
Well, I like what Hayes does. He throws a really nice, soft football. It's easy to catch.
White, the only running back behind Hayes. You look at it from our side camera. End zone look gives you the outside, and there is White. Stutter stepping. There is a flag behind the plate. White finally wrestles him out of bounds. White is a guy that is difficult to stop. And again, a hole on the outside, though, as That time White was trying to go inside. His blocker thought he was going outside, and Anderson may have got caught for the hold.
I think Anderson used that for sure.
Winston-Salem hoping to use a little bit
Holding is the indication against the Tigers.
And, of course, the PA announcer will wait for the referee to make the call here. At 9:17 left to go here in the second period.
Holding, offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Let's watch this as Doug Williams talking on the sideline. And again, just watch it outside. Watch as Anderson was trying to make the block here for White, Steve.
It could be 85. It could be the takedown right there by number 62, Frank Livingston. At any rate, there's a hold on the play.
So just point fingers at anybody.
Just point, yeah, anyone. Pick your choice.
It was the left side.
It was the left side of the line.
Thank you very much. First down, 15 yards to go here for Grambling. Out of the shotgun. Looking into Williams. Williams that time had right up into his face. They had some good defense. Carnell Brown, the outstanding junior linebacker, number 42, was right in his face, and I think Williams may have heard a footstep or two on that one.
I think he did. Tried to get him on a little flanker screen real quick right across the middle, and Williams just didn't watch that ball in his hand.
Stops the clock at 9:14 left to go. By the way, at halftime, we'll get an in-depth look at the two coaches today, Doug Williams of Grambling, and, of course, Kermit Blunt of Winston-Salem. Both, by the way, are candidates for the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year Award, as presented by Street and Smith every year. And, of course, we'll get get some conversation going with them. Not so much X's and O's. We'll find out a little more about them and their personalities. Here's Hayes to the end zone, and that one is going to be knocked away. Kind of floated that one up that time. And Ivory Gaskins just a sophomore, 6 feet 190 back there, and had some competition from Pride as it went over the plate.
Sim, this is what the free safety has to do. Willie Cricht has to come over and make the play. The play was running to his side. He runs away, then comes back on the look away. Cricht's a good athlete, leads the defensive backs for Winston-Salem in tackles with 31. He's got 6 interceptions, which is #1 in the CIAA. Willie Cricht, good athlete, good play.
By the way, he blocked a punt last week and ran it back against Elizabeth City for a touchdown. There's Hayes, a little fake inside. First time some pressure by Winston. He runs away, shovels a pass. Got all kinds of running room. That time, even the man down waiting to get the ball, Washington said, what in the world was that?
And that's the first time that Winston-Salem's pass rush was able to make Hayes get out of the pocket today. And he's not the kind of quarterback that really wants to run. He wants to sit back and do that. But you get him out of his lanes. Here's out of the shotgun, makes the play fake, and you see the good rush led by Washington and Corey Williams, number 95, make it. Might have been past the line of scrimmage also.
It was close. Melvin Spears, the offensive coordinator for Grambling Tigers. First cousin, by the way, of Doug Williams. Trying to get a little razzle-dazzle going on that one. Here is going to be Richardson trying from 42 yards away. That'll be short, and Winston-Salem will take over. Their defense holds. And I'll tell you what, Faison and company for Winston-Salem, they have given up a field goal and now refuse to give up another one. So this is a good situation for Winston-Salem. Well, we've had a great opportunity to visit this beautiful city of San Diego. We want to share it with you. Let's take a look around San Diego, California.
Now is the perfect time to explore San Diego for less. Call 1-800-4-SAN-DIEGO for your free vacation planning kit and coupon book full of exclusive savings. This offer is limited, so call 1-800-4-SAN-DIEGO today and get some fun out of life.
Well, San Diego hosting the Go Close Classic, and this is Woodbury for Winston-Salem. Trying to get the umpire out of the way as he runs by the defensive Grambling. A lot of running there, but not a lot of gains, as he'll gain probably about 2, maybe 3 yards at most out of it. And there's Mr. Faison in defense again, working that sideline.
I like that San Diego shot.
That was
nice. Sweet, sexy, sandy beaches, saucy on the beach. Well, I like that.
Tom Lundy, our producer director, is staying over an extra day to enjoy San Diego, California. And we wish him the very enjoyable time tomorrow. It's a gain of 3, second down and 7 yards to go for Winston-Salem. There's a fumble, and Woodbury has to dive on it. And boy, what a tough situation that is when you look like you're just trying to get your offense after your defense has done what they needed to do, and you get a fumble from center.
Winston-Salem's got to find some offense. You've got to keep that defense off the field. Looks like Woodbury just pulls out a little too soon to me, Sam. There's an exchange right there. Let's see what happens here. Never got the hand.
Never got it. No.
Never got it.
But he got it back. That's the fortunate part for Winston-Salem. That would have been a crucial turnover at that stage of the game and around the 27-yard line. But it's a third down play. 8 yards to go for Winston. 7:41 to go here in the second quarter, excuse me. And a 9-0 Grambling lead. Back is Woodbury. Protection is there. He throws again over the middle. And again, he comes up with a nice bullet. As he hits it out. And that man that had a great catch a moment ago, number 83, is back in there, Shepard. And Shepard makes another great catch here.
If you give Torrey Woodbury time, he can produce. Nice drop. Gets a chance to look over the field. Pass coming right into your living room. A good catch by Ollie Shepard, 6'4", 190 pounds. Gets in between those backers.
Well, again, the coaches liked what he did the last time. Give him another opportunity, and he paid dividends. Wide receiver McGowan's going to the right of Woodbury after another first down. First man getting it on top of it. Number 268, just a junior.
From all over the country.
All kinds of Black College national championships. Of course, SWAC championships that you couldn't hang enough banners there in Grambling to show. All under the illustrious tutorship of Eddie Robinson. Back to throw Woodbury. Great strike over the middle to the 49-yard line. And McGowan's makes the catch as he goes to his knees. First down.
I was about to say a moment ago, we hadn't called Chris McGowan's name very often. One of the possession receivers runs a very good route. You need about 16 yards. He gives you 17. And again, you're giving Woodbury time. You can look over the field, but he's locked in on Woodbury. And once again, you can see it right there in between 8 and 53, the cornerback and the linebacker. Good pass.
Wicker out there on the corner as he tried to defend as well, along with Dukes, the two linebackers in the drop. We talked about Hayes having a strong arm. How about that throw by Woodbury on a string to McGowan? Newberry, no place to run, and there is Dukes all over him. And also getting in the middle is Wicker. So the two linebackers in the coverage and now stopping on the draw.
I was on the elevator today. I was a lot in the hotel.
A lot of time on the elevator today.
Well, I couldn't find my way. I was lost. But I got a chance to talk to Terrence Dukes. And he was talking about, you know, how great it was to play at Grambling. But he's an outstanding player. I said, Terrence, you guys going to win the game? He said, oh, yeah. He said, I want to go out there and hit somebody. He did then.
He's had a very strong year. By the way, he's converted from a strong safety, so he has the quickness to cover, and also, of course, you saw the strength to charge. As here's Woodbury flushed out of the pocket. He, being the right-handed thrower, has to just tuck it in and make a run as he got the good pursuit from the outside. That time, Ronald Johnson, number 55, out of Baton Rouge, 6'2", 245, was the man in pursuit. You know, Grambling has shown some good depth on that defensive line. And linebackers as well. They're running some pretty good folks in there right now.
I think you'd like to see Woodbury run the ball, but in some cases probably out of the option. He's running right there for his life. And I don't think this is what Kermit Blunt had in the game plan. They had to be running and trying to say, hey, look, save me, save me, save me. Again, you're in a third and long situation. Let's see what they do now.
They have had that all afternoon long. Third down. They still need about 8 to go. Coach Winbush on the sideline. Here comes Woodbury. He's going to have enough for the first down unless he slants too far. He falls down. It's going to be probably shy. Depends on a left foot or a right foot spot. And that time it is going to be spotted at the 40-yard line, and that will be short as Woodbury ran diagonally down the line of scrimmage where he needed to get and actually slipped out as he tried to turn upfield. And now it's a fourth down play.
Yeah, he was locked in with Michael Grant and just trying to take the ball to the side. As you said, you get near that first down mark, you want to go across. Watch this right about there. Whoops.
Yo. So Winston-Salem electing not to gamble at this stage. Their defense has played well in holding Grambling to only 3 points in the last 2 possessions, so they will kick it away. And now they'll try to kick it into the corner, and Grambling wants to call a timeout to set up maybe some kind of return here. So Bailey, who is very capable of doing just that, he's got 1 run back for a touchdown this year, and the Grambling Tigers will take the timeout on the sideline. You take a look at their defense and offensive folks working the sideline for them. One thing about both these coaches, they have relegated their responsibilities extremely well with some very capable people. Matter of fact, one of the concerns for Kermit Blunt and probably for Doug Williams is the fact that you develop so many outstanding coaches, you have a chance of losing them from year to year.
Job's always popping open, but Michael Winbush has been a very good offensive coordinator over the last few years for Winston-Salem State. He's done a really good job as his Winston-Salem. So I think those guys are loyal, but you know, if they get an opportunity to move on, they want to.
By the way, we'd like to remind you, coming up this year, we saw both the coaches there. Doug Williams in particular is one of the candidates for Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year. Last year, of course, it was Mr. Bonner from Florida A&M and Mr. Wyatt coming out of Bethune-Cookman. Bonner, an outstanding quarterback, and Wyatt leading Bethune-Cookman to the Heritage Bowl. They were the two recipients, and they got it from the man himself, Eddie Robinson. Don't forget, if you'd like to have more information, contact Street and Smith Productions for more information on the Eddie Robinson Awards down in Atlanta during the Heritage Bowl this year. Woodbury is out of there after leading his club down the field, but not enough for a first down. And they'll try to get a punt off here, and this will be Deacons again. Goes to that corner, trying to kick it away from Bailey, and he does a good job. Let's see how far they come up the line of scrimmage.
Going to bring it up to about the 8.
They're walking that sideline.
Oh.
Okay. I think he's walking to El Cajon here, it looks like. He's out to the 8-yard line, and that's where they'll finally start. Make it the 13-yard line, and that's where they'll start it down 1st and 10 here for Grambling. 4 minutes, 22 seconds left to go. Now it becomes a situation. The offense of Grambling has had trouble against the defense of Winston-Salem. How wide open does Doug Williams become now with all of that green between he and the goal line on the other end?
I think Doug, knowing Doug, is going to continue to play like this. Mitch in a few passes every now and then, some runs, to keep throwing the ball. You've got Anderson who's having a great game, and you also been able to get something in the tight end. I think just continue to play like they play.
Bailey stays in and flanks out to the left. Williams, one of the flankers on the near side, and there's Hayes. He runs the draw, gets it to White. And Trey White looking for a block ahead of him and almost got it out in front of him that time. That was Travis Hairston, the center, number 63. And you saw how well White, this is a freshman. Look how well he read that one, just kind of waiting for Harrison to make that block. He made it and gains a big yards. He gets it out to the 30-yard line.
The offensive line of Grambling is doing a good job finding enough room for White to get through there. White 6'1", about 210. He's a good runner, good athlete. Doug Williams said he likes to hit you. He loves contact.
Carnell Brown had to catch this youngster from behind, but not before he's gained 46 yards on the game now. Out of the eye again. And here is Hayes back to throw, and he throws that one after getting great rush from behind. It'll be incomplete. And coming from the outside, they got the rush they needed from Robert Mackey. Mackey from Fort Mill, South Carolina. He's already had 11 tackles for losses, 16 tackles, and 5.5 sacks, and that time he breaks this one up on the pass.
Comes from the edge, beats the double team, and gets some pressure on him. And that's what you've got to do against a drop-back passer such as Hayes. You've got to put some pressure on him, and Winston-Salem's able to do that time. Robert Mackey, one of those good athletes the Rams have at linebacker.
By the way, that kind of answered that question if they were going to try to air it out, and they were, as they had their wide receivers streaking up the field. Comes to a 2nd down, 10 yards to go. Hayes 7 for 14 for 160 so far. White has carried 8 times for 46 yards, and he's the lone running back. Actually, Bailey. They tried to swing it inside on a pass, and an incompleted pass as Bailey really took a shot right after trying to get a hold of that football. And I want to tell you, Stefan Isidore out of Fresno, California, the only native Californian on the Winston-Salem club, he just stuck him after he tried to make that catch on the little shovel pass.
He's fired up about it, but again, they tried a little shovel pass, see if you can get Winston-Salem in some different coverages, see if you can over-pursue the play, but they do a good job of staying home and putting Grambling down in that 3rd and long situation. But they've had success in this.
Clock is stopped with 3:45 left to go. Here in the 2nd period, Grambling working on a 3rd down and 10 yards to go. Out of the shotgun, Hayes. The left-hander sets up, throws over the middle. Anderson has it. He fumbles it. It's on the ground, and Winston-Salem State will scramble to make the fumble recovery. So Anderson makes a great grab at midfield. As he comes down, I don't believe the ground forced the fumble. Winston-Salem gets the fumble. And the last man getting up for Winston-Salem. Watch this catch, and almost a great one here for Grambling.
Hayes to Anderson all day long. A perfect strike. Would have been enough for the first down, but that's a good, solid play by my man, Eric Hargroves. There's the deflection. Who got that fumble? I couldn't see who got that. Was that Alexander? I think it was.
Hey, I think it was going to be Wilson, number 32. Hargroves the one who got the great hit right here to knock it loose.
Good strip.
See, that is Wilson. Now, it gets away from him. And I think he just squirmed it right back under him. So it was Wilson, number 32, makes the fumble recovery. And that is Wilson, who is coming up. Well, no, wait a minute. Is that Wilson?
Alexander.
It is Alexander.
Alexander, yeah.
Yep. That's Deron Alexander coming from that strong safety. And Wilson again makes that fumble recovery. But a great play by Hargroves to knock it away after Anderson had caught the ball.
Eric Hargrove, 25 tackles. He's forced 2 fumbles already, but none bigger than that one.
Anderson really upset at himself after what turned out to be a great catch at midfield. So Winston-Salem has some time with 3:35 left to go, and they trips to the left. Lone running back and down the line of scrimmage, a quick pitch. They try to get it to the outside to Newberry, or make that to Newkirk, and Newkirk gets it outside.
Jim, we talked about it earlier in the first quarter, but this is the formation that Winston-Salem ran when they were behind against Virginia State. They went trips, and they're able to option the ball some to Newkirk a few times. If not, they could throw out of this formation. This has been successful. I'll be surprised if they change from this for the remainder of the half, but Newkirk runs the ball so strong. Look at the power in his legs.
Excellent runner, again, as we pointed out, since Richard Huntley was an outstanding 1,000-yard rusher. Did it in 92, 93, 94, 95. That's the last time they had a 1,000-yard rusher. Against Elizabeth City last week, Newkirk went over the 1,000 mark. As they take a man in motion, Wooten. Hand off to Newkirk. Finds some time as he runs it inside the 40 down to the 38-yard line. 3:20 left to go here before the half.
Very important that Winston-Salem gets something on the board.
Excellent little draw right on the inside.
The lead blocks by Pegues and Walter Watkins, and you see Newkirk does the rest.
Dukes wrapping him up around the ankles to make the stop. Second down, about 4 yards needed here for Winston after a fumble recovery. Newberry has to pitch that one, and it's going to be a great defensive play on the outside by George. Gidry making the stop there as he got in that huddle in a big hurry, and George got outside quickly on that one.
Arnell Wooten tries to put the block on Gidry, but he's too athletic. Just comes, I think he knew to play that time. Look at that, defeats the block and makes the tackle, George Gidry.
So again, Woodbury, who actually got contact just as he made that pitch, actually probably pitched it a couple of steps earlier than he wanted to, giving Newkirk not a lot of angles to the outside. It is third down. They lose it all the way back to the 45-yard line. Woodbury throwing it on a rope to the far side, trying to get McGowan's that time out of trouble. He's hit from behind and dropped down that time by Antoine Lawrence, number 94. Also coming up to help was Calvin Pearson on the outside to be there if the pass had been complete. It'll bring up the punt time here for Winston-Salem now. And a tough break for them after a big break of getting a fumble recovery. So they get ready to kick it away as Dinkins will get this one away around his own 45-yard line. Bailey is the deep man there for Grambling. 9-0 Grambling. They got an early score, got a field goal, but since that time, the defense of Winston-Salem has held them 3 times. Bailey all the way back inside his 10, and no place to run. I tell you, one of the special teams guys this day is Victor White, number 45, as he was down in a hurry. Number 31 was Monty Simmons, both down covering that very well as it's 1st and 10 Grambling. They'll have it at about their 10-yard line as both the bands making the trip here. And that, of course, will be an opportunity for them to perform at halftime. Don't forget, coming up before this game is all over, we'll have a chance to name our Food Line Most Valuable Player of the Gold Coast Bowl here in San Diego. Which one of the players are stepping up? Grambling's quarterback Hayes. Of course, Williams catching the ball. And how about Newkirk running the ball for Winston-Salem? A lot of candidates starting to come to the fore. It may, however, be a defensive player the way this game is going today. Hayes at his own 10. Grambling leading 9-0. Steps up in the pocket. Plenty of time. Runs out of it. Puck from behind and finally dropped down. So Hayes thought he had some good opportunity, but Sammy Towns dropping him down. South Riviera Beach in Florida, 6'2", 270, a sophomore.
Doing a better job in the pass rush now. See that Winston-Salem's dropping 4 guys, an extra bringing in the nickel backer. And what you've got to do, you've got to have push out of the interior line for the Rams.
And they got that as much as a good secondary coverage as well. Here's Hayes again. Throws this one over the middle, and they're going to get it complete, get it out to around the 20-yard line for a first down. That's Ivory Gaskins again on the catch. Grambling quickly coming up to the line of scrimmage with 1:28 to go. Grambling again as their plays call as they're up the line of scrimmage as the clock is whirled. Hayes now will come out of the shotgun. Center snapping back is Corey Smith. Good snap. Hayes throwing. Lofts one out to the far side, trying to get it to Bailey, covering the linebacker, Parnell Brown, on that far side, number 42. Melvin Spears, the offensive coordinator for Grambling. 3rd year, or spent 3 years at Morgan State, also as a Alcorn State graduate down in the SWAC conference, and now in the 1st year here for Doug Williams at Grambling. So he's calling the plays here to see what they can do on a 2nd down and 10 with the clock stopped at 1:14. Second period winds towards our halftime. Out of the shotgun again, Hayes. Winston State covering well, but Simmons, the underneath man, there's a flag down across the way as Simmons makes the catch. Defensive stop made by Chen. Andre Chen on the near side makes the stop here for Winston-Salem and the Rams.
I'm really impressed with Lionel Hayes. He's got a lot of poise, and he can put that ball on the money. You're talking about Melvin Spears, Sam. You know, Grambling's got a very, very impressive coaching staff. Tyrone McGriff was in the NFL for several years. You know, Sammy White, who can forget Sammy White for the Minnesota Vikings as an offensive lineman, and Matt Reed, one of the first of the long line of the quarterbacks for Grambling, you know, is restricted earnings quarterback.
There's no flag. No flag.
So a lot of folks have had a lot of time with Grambling and doing a job coaching-wise as there's no flag, so it is a catch by Simmons and a first down. Hi, ladies. Enjoy your halftime. 1:06 left to go before the halftime break. Grambling out of the shotgun again. Lofts it to the outside to Williams. Comes back and makes the catch. And is drilled as he's dropped down by Alexander.
What?
Well, wait a minute. Let me give you the right call. That's going to be Washington rather than Williams, still running out of that split wide receiver. That's Washington. Levi Washington makes the catch.
And Levi Washington does a great job of deking Eric Richburg. He didn't turn around. This is a positive receiver. He doesn't turn around until the last moment. Richburg's got his head turned, doesn't see it, and all of a sudden there's the ball, and Washington turns around and makes the catch. That's a big-time play by a big-time receiver, Levi Washington.
Washington had caught 18 passes coming to the game. Makes a big one there for Grambling, as Winston-Salem wants to exercise one of their timeouts in the first half. Well, at halftime coming up, where, as I mentioned, we'll meet both Doug Williams and, of course, Mr. Blunt as well, as Kermit will be visiting with us over in Winston-Salem, and Doug Williams down at Grambling. Also more on the Gold Coast Classic. We'll look at stats and highlights, and we'll meet some of the leaders of these two fine universities at Grambling and at Winston-Salem State University. The champions of the CIAA. What a nice year it has been with that turnaround, going 0-2, coming back, winning 7 in a row. And for Doug Williams and Grambling, they too have had themselves a nice year, losing by only a point to Texas Southern in the West of the SWAC, 21-20.
Interesting thing about Winston, after losing the first 2 games, they went 3 conference games where a team never scored on.
Look at the numbers already on Hayes. Low snap. He has to scramble to try to cover that one up. And Hayes now quickly tries to get him to the line of scrimmage here as the clock winds down to 49. So Grambling will try to set something up here as Hayes comes all the way to the near sideline to talk to Williams. Then back quickly into the shotgun.
Winston rushing 3.
And a big rush on Hayes, who steps easily away. Throws it underneath, but the pattern went to the inside. He threw it to the outside, but there is a flag down on the far side to stop the clock with 31.
And I'm not certain if it could have possibly been a hold. I know Eric Richburg was bumping into it with some of the guys.
And it's going to go against Grambling. So Grambling, again, having some problems on their offense here, but you kind of get a feeling they would take something if it's there, but they don't really, not really trying to force it up the field with only 31 seconds to go.
Going to the house of here.
We see Melvin Spears talking on the sideline with Lionel Hayes, already 226
ineligible downfield
yards.
On the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
So someone drifting by the line of scrimmage when the pass was thrown. Hayes already 226 yards throwing today, 11 of 21. 5-yard step off will back up the Grambling Tigers. And again, they'll have a 2nd down, and they need probably about 13, 14 yards for the first down. It probably would be, I'm sure they'd love to score here, but I think that's probably, let's just run the clock out. If it's there, it's there. It's not, let's not do anything fancy. He is definitely throwing an out pass to Anderson, though, and he's got just enough for the first down. What a nice run the pattern that time for Anderson. Got just enough upfield and drives it deep just underneath Alexander and makes the catch on the far side. Hardgroves, number 28, was also there.
Anderson is super smooth. He runs a very, very nice post corner route, gets enough yardage for the first down, and then able to get out of bounds. I like him. He runs very smooth routes. And again, you got Sammy White as a wide receiver coach.
Yep.
You should run good routes.
Now Grambling will go for the juggler here with 24, as they've got a 1st and 10 to go at the 35-yard line. And action all across the line of scrimmage, and Hayes just going to spike it down.
And Winston-Salem cannot afford to give Grambling a touchdown. Field goal you can live with, but you can't give them a touchdown and get down 2 touchdowns to the Grambling team, who looks like they're playing solid defense today.
Well, again, the Winston-Salem a little bit of a call there. Referee right on top of him said nope. Field judge coming down that line of scrimmage nicely. Clock stops with 16 seconds to go.
And with 16 seconds and 35 yards away, do you continue to throw the ball deeper? Do you position it now? After the question Doug Williams is going to be faced with, do you position to try to get a field goal to get something else on the board?
Longest field goal, by the way, for Lawrence Richmond is 45 yards. So they need to get one more pass here to even put him in any kind of reasonable distance for a field goal try. Hayes going to try to get it all here. Williams, and knocked down by Alexander, came within an eyelash of an intercept.
Ron Alexander on the coverage. 4 interceptions, a good job. Is locked in tight with Williams. This time he wins the battle.
Great play by Alexander, young man out of Charlotte. Play that one back as their #1 tackler, and of course with 4 interceptions, came within a very eyelash to getting that one, bouncing ball to get another one.
Almost picks it off, but stayed to the inside. That was a little slant route and stayed inside of Williams, not allow him to get in between there for the touchdown. Good play by Deron Alexander.
So it brings up a 4th down play. They're going to go for it on 4th down, and Hayes is going to the end zone. It is the in and out of the hands. Intended receiver back upfield was Gaskins, as he had beaten everybody, and Hayes just throws it off his fingertips, stops the clock with 4 seconds to go.
You got to go deep and look for something, and this is exactly what they do. And I'm very shocked that Gaskins doesn't catch this pass. He's caught everything thrown to him. He's got the time. You can see 2 guys open. There's one, there's the second one. Oh, that's a touchdown. A nice post route. Andre Chin's living very easy right now. Boy, that was scary.
Oh, my. He knew that he should have had that one.
Should have been 6. Should have been 6.
So the last 4 seconds, Winston-Salem more than likely just to take a knee here. And we're there having the ball at the 35-yard line, and they'll head to the locker room down by only a 9-0 score. And there it is. So the half is going to be conclusion. Again, Grambling jumping out to an early 9-0 lead. However, they got the first 6 points. 10:31 left to go in the first period. A field goal at 2:27 to make it 9-0. Since that time, the Winston-Salem defense has held on, and Grambling hasn't been able to extend their lead. Well, we'll be back to take a look at our halftime. All of that coming from Qualcomm Park here in San Diego, California in the Gold Coast Classic.
At Burger King, we're always trying to make having your way better.
I'll have a new chicken club sandwich.
What's up with this?
It's the new Chicken Club. We're trying to give you the genuine club experience.
But the tasty new Chicken Club is excitement enough. A new way to satisfy your craving for our tender, juicy chicken sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and hickory smoked bacon for a real taste sensation anytime you want.
Can I buy you something to drink?
Burger King. Have it your way.
If a butterfly flaps its wings in Kansas and a tidal wave rises in the Pacific Ocean, what happens when I do this? Are you feeling that?
DMX technology, performance you can feel. Are you feeling it? When I was a kid, learning how to skateboard was a challenge. Luckily, Dad knew. To get more control, you need to set the wheels farther apart. Since then, I've been convinced. Wider is better.
The Wide Track Grand Prix, a wider track, and speed-sensitive steering give you more control around turns. Wider is better. Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac.
Light, heat, and time are all enemies of beer. We can protect the beer from light with a brown bottle, and protect beer from heat by ensuring that we keep it in a temperature-controlled environment. We then make sure that the consumer enjoys that beer as soon as possible. We are the only major domestic brewer that uses a born-on dating system to ensure that our customers get the absolute best, most cared-for, most perfect beer they can buy.
Introducing Colgate Total Fresh Stripe Toothpaste. A fresh minty gel that keeps working long after you've finished brushing. Fighting bad breath while you're out and about. fighting cavities and tartar when you're center stage. It even fights plaque and gingivitis for protection all day or all night. Colgate Total Fresh Stripe Toothpaste, the brushing that works between brushings.
Welcome back, everybody, to halftime of the great Gold Coast Classic once again in San Diego, California. Our halftime show all being brought to you by Burger King. And right now, the Grambling State Tigers have the lead by the score of 9-0 over the Rams of Winston-Salem State. Good start for Grambling. They got 9 points with 2 minutes left to go in the first period. They led 9-0. Great defensive stance by Winston-Salem has them very much still in this game. All of this great experience by Winston-Salem comes from the 7-year coach. Of course, his name is Kermit Blunt. Blunt was a star at Winston-Salem State, but now has guided his club to the championship. We had a chance to sit down and find out more about this candidate for the Coach of the Year.
It meant the world to me to have the opportunity to come back to a university that gave me an opportunity to get a degree and push me out in the real world and prepared me pretty good for it. I've had some ups and downs since I've been back, and I think the biggest thing was actually putting the program back to where it needed to be. It was a long road. You know, certainly we have a tradition here of winning, and our fans wanted wins right away. I knew as a coach coming back into this situation that it would take some time if we wanted to build the program right. We got to be focused as a team, and we have to be disciplined. And I think the team that's most focused and most disciplined stands the best chance of winning the ball game. You can take 22 great athletes that's undisciplined, and you're probably going to lose the game. And if you take 22 players that are just average players that are very disciplined and very focused, they stand the best chance of winning. We like to think that we have just as good as players as Grambling have. And, you know, our kids are going to show up, and they're going to be focused. They're going to play tremendously hard to get the win. And we felt last year that we were right there. We had opportunities to score. We didn't. We allowed a couple of big plays last year versus them. And I don't think you'll see that this year. This is home for me. I feel very good about what we're doing and how we're doing it. And I think it's just going to be a matter of me being able to keep my staff together. If we can keep the staff together, then our program is going to be fine. But at the same time, you know, you have to look at every opportunity, and right now that's the first thing from my mind, you know, and that's something that I'll deal with in the future if it comes about. We probably would have beat Doug 9 out of 10 times when I was playing. Don't tell Doug I said that. No, but you know, you expect that from Doug. I mean, he's a competitor. You know, he's a Super Bowl MVP quarterback. You know, he's a guy that I have a lot of respect for. You know, and you know, in so many words, we're in the same era. You know, I played in the All-Star game the year after he played in it. You know, I had a chance to meet him out at that All-Star game, and I felt like I was in third heaven. But, you know, I expect Doug to sit here in my face and tell me, you know, hey, Coach, I'm going to whoop you, you know what. And I'll have to say the same thing to him. But, you know, we respect that. I went to the coaches' luncheon last year in San Diego, and I told a little joke when I got off the elevator, or got on the elevator, rather. People were telling me that, you know, asked me whether I Doug Williams. And I said, no, I'm not Doug. I'm the other coach. But, you know, Doug is a guy that I have a bunch of respect for. He's going to have his team prepared to play. And at the same time, I'm going to have mine prepared to play. And we're going to knock heads. We're going to compete, and then we'll shake hands afterwards.
Well, it's a guy that's certainly trying to earn some respect, and certainly has done so with the CIAA championship going 7-0. Kermit Blunt, and the man that is heading up the university at Winston-Salem State University, of course, is Dr. Alvin Schexnayder, and he is the chancellor of Winston-Salem State. And welcome to, well, once sunny California here.
It's been sunny for part of the day. Great to be here.
It is nice to give your kids a reward of winning the championship, but an opportunity to play, of course, a great 1AA club as well.
Yeah, this is our second time out, and we're really delighted. It's a great morale booster for the team as well as the band and everyone associated with the program.
Well, of course, Kermit Blunt is trying to make some history from the football side. Let's talk about the history of Winston-Salem State, because we go back a long, long time with Winston-Salem.
Over 107 years, university began as a normal school and cut its eye teeth as one of the first really good programs for teacher education for black institutions, and we've been very, very proud of our accomplishments over the years.
And, of course, we talk about outstanding athletes, also some great students coming out of Winston-Salem.
Some very good students and some great student athletes. Perhaps the best known is Earl Monroe, but Timmy Newsome, More recently, Yancey Thigpen, Eric Hunley, and the list goes on. We've done very, very well with our athletic program, and we're very, very proud of it.
One thing on the other side of the coin, the academic side of it as well for Winston-Salem. I know you're proud of all the programs you have there as well.
Yes, we do. We offer about 32 baccalaureate degrees, and we'll be offering our first master's degree in physical therapy in the fall. And so University is in the process of implementing a strategic plan, which is going to guide us in the next century, and we're very, very pleased with the way that's going, and so I'm very, very excited about the future.
What was the circumstances being invited to the Gold Coast Bowl for Winston-Salem State?
Well, you may know that I am a Grambling alum, and the athletic director and my friends at Grambling have been very, very supportive of our efforts here, and that's pretty much how this came to be.
Now, of course, your club is right now on the verge at 7-2. Opportunity either certainly to go to the Pioneer Bowl, which you've already earned, or going to the Division II playoffs as well.
Either one would be very exciting for us, and you're absolutely right. We've had a spectacular season. As you know, we won our basketball championship this year and the football championship in our conference. First time in 20 years we've done both of those, so some good things are happening. We're very, very excited.
We're hearing rumbles around the CIAA to break up the Rams. I guess that's probably one of the things they'll be shooting at you now. We moved to Raleigh, of course, getting to basketball, if I may. Move to a brand new situation. We move away from Winston-Salem, which has been very good for us, but Raleigh's going to be fun, I think.
Raleigh's going to be a great venue for us, and it was in Winston-Salem for 6 years, as you know, and it'll be a welcome change, but I think we'll be in good form for that contest as well.
One of the things about people in the university, you have to get good leaders, certainly with Kermit Blunt on the field, but Ricky Duckett on your basketball team, got to be proud of you.
He's a class act, and we couldn't be happier. When you think of what Coach Duckett inherited, came in with somebody else's team, basically, and built it from scratch, did an outstanding job. We're very, very fortunate.
Had an opportunity to come over to the campus. What a beautiful site you have there in Winston-Salem. Talk about the campus a bit.
Well, the campus is a beautiful physical structure. We've got about 3,000 students, and we've got some nice buildings. We're in the process of trying to acquire more state funding for about $43 million, and would expand the campus further. We expect to have an additional 1,500 students within the next 10 years, and so the changes in our physical appearance will reflect those increased enrollments.
Doctor, always a great opportunity to visit with you. We're going to find out now exactly where his allegiance lie. Grambling grad, Chancellor of Winston-Salem State. What happens in the second half here?
Well, don't sell us short. Not much of a fat lady sings. We're going to win this one.
Doctor, again, thanks very much.
Thank you, Sam. My pleasure.
Dr. Alvin Check-Snyder, again, the Chancellor of Winston-Salem State University. Right now, his club's down 9-0, but not out of this game. We're back with more. We'll also take a look at Doug Williams. We move ahead in just a moment.
At Burger King, we're always trying to make having your way better.
I love a new chicken club sandwich.
What's up with this?
It's the new Chicken Club. We're trying to give you the genuine club experience.
But the tasty new Chicken Club is excitement enough. A new way to satisfy your craving for our tender, juicy chicken sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and hickory smoked bacon for a real taste sensation anytime you want.
Can I buy you something to drink?
Burger King. Have it your way.
It'll be good to see Uncle George again. I remember he'd pull up in his General Motors car, and a few minutes later, we'd hear him. He taught us about pride and love and about life. He'd say, son, always buy quality, and always buy from people that show you some respect. So like Uncle George, I'm a GM man.
General Motors, cars and trucks you can count on for all the roads you travel. People in motion.
Introducing Colgate Total Fresh Stripe Toothpaste. A fresh minty gel that keeps working long after you've finished brushing. Fighting bad breath while you're out and about. Fighting cavities and tartar when you're center stage. It even fights plaque and gingivitis. For protection all day or all night. Colgate Total Fresh Stripe Toothpaste. The brushing that works between brushings.
If a butterfly flaps its wings in Kansas, and a tidal wave rises in the Pacific Ocean, what happens when I do this? Are you feeling that?
DMX technology, performance you can feel. Are you feeling it?
step up. Learn to see farther. Learn there are teachers who won't allow you to fail. Learn to dance, to draw. Learn that the real challenge doesn't come from the outside, but from within. And that there's more to you than you ever knew. Be all you can be.
Our Burger King halftime report continues from the Gold Coast Classic here in San Diego, California, where, as you see on the board, the Tigers of Grambling State out of the SWAC have the lead 9-0 over the champions of the CIAA, Winston-Salem, and the Rams, as we welcome you back to Qualcomm Park here in San Diego. Sam Smith alongside of the commissioner of the SWAC, Rudy Washington, a native of Los Angeles, so you're familiar with this Southern California hospitality.
Absolutely. I'm not familiar with this little cold weather, though, we're getting here.
You had an opportunity, of course, to be here in the Gold Coast, of course, with the SWAC team last year. Now you get to come out this year with Grambling, and we talked about them being the road warriors. They really travel all over the country.
You know, they do. It's interesting. You know, Grambling draws pretty well at home, but they really do well on the outside. And, of course, that's been a credit, obviously, to Eddie Robinson and the legacy of Grambling. And Doug has taken up the reins, and so they've done a tremendous job. But Grambling is the draw on the road. There's no doubt about it.
You know, the nice thing about it, the Gold Coast Bowl, certainly with John Warren putting this together to expose historically black college football to the folks here on the West Coast, and I think it's great.
I think it's super. You know, his wife Jerry's the founder. Bringing this in is a tough road. You got to go to the western part of the United States. But we have no historically black colleges in the western part of the United States. So this is a tremendous opportunity for our schools to come out, recruit, and bring some of these kids back to the south, to the east, to really enjoy a black college experience.
Rudy, give us a little state of the conference, if you will, as the commissioner of the conference now, and at the end of a football season, heading for the first ever SWAC championship game, December the 11th. That should be a lot of fun in Birmingham, but give us a little state of the conference right now.
You know, things are going great. They really are. We're excited, really, about the championship game on the 11th of December for the first time ever. And I don't know if any other conference has ever done this. We're bringing all the bands to Birmingham, so it's going to be a tremendous festival of bands at that particular time. Jackson State won their division, Eastern Division, as of today, because Alcorn was defeated. And so Jackson State will be one of the representatives in the championship game. If Texas Southern wins tonight against Southern University, they will represent. If Southern wins, and then they have to go on and play one more game against Grambling, and that game will decide who, in fact, represents the West. So it's an exciting time for us.
Well, of course, that comes down on November the 27th. The game's on December the 11th, so that Bio Classic could certainly have a big impact on your championship game. The basketball championship, a new venue for them, and a lot of excitement for basketball in it.
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. You know, we're going to be in Biloxi, Mississippi, and we're going to be down there on the coast, and it's a tremendous. The coast has really developed into something special. It's almost like a little Las Vegas, and we just thought our fans would enjoy that. We're going to be down there for 4 days. We're bringing all the teams. But that's really going to be an exciting time for us, too. But, you know, right now we're focusing on football. And as soon as football's over with, we go right to basketball. But you guys will be joining us in Biloxi. We'll have some fun.
We're looking forward to not only that, but, of course, finishing off with our coverage on BET of your championship game. And, of course, we're very happy with our association as the producers for BET on the championship game. What gave you the idea of trying to get the championship game together?
Well, you know, I thought that we have traveled tremendously when we go to the 1AA playoffs. And, of course, there was a little opposition, but basically it was economics. We lose money when we travel 1AA. We just don't win anything. We don't make any money, let me say. And as a result of that, we thought about a format, East and West, and that would give us an opportunity to make some money. But also, when we add the rest of the teams that we want to, perhaps in the SWAC, it will really cut our travel budget down tremendously. So we're kind of going to an SEC format. So it's an economic move.
Well, it's going to be a great one, December the 11th, again, with all of the bands there and all the festivities. And, of course, you can contact the SWAC office for ticket information or any of the SWAC schools to get there on December the 11th. Holyfield or Lewis tonight? What do you think, my friend?
I'm going to try to make that fight. I think I can get out of here and make that. I think it's a great one. You know, I think Holyfield might get it tonight.
I think it's going to be. I'm going with Holyfield as well.
Okay.
We'll have egg on our face maybe sooner or later.
That's true.
Rudy, as always, thanks, my friend. And good luck in the championship game.
Thanks, Sam. And you guys do a great job, and we appreciate you here. And have a good time while you're in San Diego. It's great weather here.
Rudy Washington, again, the commissioner of the SWAC. And, of course, the SWAC is all built on one thing, and that, of course, is reputation of their schools. And Grambling, of course, after Eddie Robinson had to go for the special guy, they went with their man, Doug Williams. We had a chance to sit down with another candidate, the Eddie Robinson Award, Doug Williams, to find out who he really is.
you know, it takes some getting used to. You know, being a head coach is one thing, but, you know, you got to assemble a good staff together. You got to try to get the players in that you feel is going to bring the program up to status, and I feel good about being in that position at this time. You know, when I first went to Grambling in 1973, my whole reason for going to school at that time was to become a coach. Mainly because my oldest brother was my first coach, and I wanted to be like my oldest brother. So there wasn't no doubt in my mind that I was going to be coaching somewhere. You know, when I became a junior and a senior, and when I left Grambling, I always wanted to come back to work at Grambling, whether it was in the capacity of assistant coach or head coach, and fortunately, everything came to pass. We all got to recognize that, you know, the Eddie Robinson era is over, and what Coach Rob has done, no other man going to ever do again. In like 57 years at one place, 400 and some victories. That's not what I come to Grambling to do. I just come to Grambling to rebuild the program. The program was down. I knew we had some work to do, and that's what we're trying to do, is to build the program up to where we can be as competitive as any other team in the way Grambling used to be in the past. I really don't think they was in awe of me. You know, these young guys today is not in awe of anybody, so it doesn't matter. I think it was a matter of them trying to find out how we was going to run the program, and compared to what they was in before. I think it took some transition time to get used to it, and I think now we're on that road, and they all realize that you know, it's not the era that they was in before. This is a new era, and we do things a little different, and we've done it a lot different. And I think that's the only way to go.
Well, Doug Williams and Grambling has the lead 9-0 so far here in the first half of the third annual Gold Coast Classic in San Diego. We'll find out more about this classic as we roll on from San Diego, California after this timeout. Sam Smith back once again in our press box area. Delighted to be joined by one of the gentlemen, along with his lovely wife, Jerry, who started this whole thing out here in San Diego, Mr. John Warren. And, John, congratulations on now your third year of the Gold Coast Classic out here.
Well, thank you very much. We're very excited about it. This is our effort to bring a part of the black cultural experience, colleges and university life to Southern California. And so we believe it's catching on like wildfire, and we're just happy about it.
You know, a lot of people say, yeah, it's a football game, but that's more than that here in San Diego with your Gold Coast Classic.
Oh, it's much more than a football game. This is my wife's vision, and there are some 12 activities that take place over a one-week period. We now have students in 3 historically black colleges and universities because of this effort. As a result of our first activity, a pageant, where we select the king and queen for the event. We have a black college fair midweek, which brings in people from the Hubies as well as a career expo. We have a tremendous gospel explosion, bringing that gospel tradition from the black community here. And then we have our championship celebrity golf tournament.
Stan, I'll be back with more as we'll take a look at some numbers, some highlights, and all kinds of fun. We'll roll on after this timeout. General Motors. General Motors, people in motion. By the United States Army. Be a part of the toughest, smartest Army in the world. Be all you can be. By the brewmasters at Budweiser, who remind you that fresh beer tastes better. By the Wide Track Grand Prix, wider is better. By Pontiac. And by Food Lion. We don't think it's funny to waste time or money. Well, welcome back. A 9-0 score by Grambling State. Pontiac brings you our highlights that we had in the first half, and of course a touchdown and a field goal by Grambling, and a big touchdown by an outstanding freshman by the name of White. Trey White running up the middle. You get a couple of quick looks at him here.
Yeah, Trey White, I like his power. He's picked up over 60 yards right there. Good block blocking a straight-ahead runner, takes a licking but keeps on ticking. Trey White's done a really good job. And if you look at that, the offensive line for Grambling, one of Doug Williams' concerned that could they dominate. They certainly did on that play. Makes it easy for the Grambling Tigers.
It could have been even more for Grambling, though. Great defense by Winston-Salem. Anderson, one of their top receivers, makes the catch at midfield, but watch the great stick by Hargrave.
Scotty Anderson's caught 4 balls. There's a good catch, but a good strip by Hargrave. A play that we thought may turn something around for Winston-Salem, help them get some points on the board. They weren't. Nice little route. There's a good cut. The pass is right there, and Hargrave makes a big play, and the Rams look like they're going to put that in for a touchdown, but unfortunately they don't. We got a 9-0 football game, Sam, but we got fireworks coming.
Well, of course, Grambling that deferred on the opening tap will, of course, take the kickoff here to start the third period. And again, kicking off for Winston-Salem will be number 4, stepping in there, John Thomas, who's missed a couple of field goals. Or this game, we're doing a lot tighter. This is Williams, diagonally down to the 15. Cuts upfield to the 20. Look out! It's Thomas, the only man that can stop him, and he does as he knocks him down at midfield. So the punter, Sean Thomas, the last man in the defense, and Williams looked like he had an opportunity to take that one upfield. Well, Burger King brings you our first half stats, and overwhelming look at the 290 yards by Grambling, and they still are lead 90-0 here, Stan.
Well, we thought that they wouldn't be able to rush the ball much. We thought Winston would dominate that. The passing game goes to Grambling. But what you didn't expect was at the time of possession, Winston's had the ball almost 20 minutes, haven't been able to put anything on the board. That's got to be very frustrating for Coach Kermit Blunt, Michael Wimbush, and the rest of the Winston-Salem staff and fans.
And they also give Grambling excellent field position as White gets the call, first score of the second half. And again, they took over the football again at the 49-yard line in Winston territory. That, by the way, is very close to where they took it off the first possession at the 44 in Winston when they finally punched in to score the first possession of the game. Look at the numbers on Hayes already tonight. 12 of 26, 248, one of our ones to watch tonight, and certainly he has been that. Left-handers throwing with will.
Makes you feel good when you do your homework all week and you pick one of the best players, and sure enough, he's doing it.
Right in the middle of that Charger helmet, Hayes throws, but Anderson can't come up with it.
You know, we talked about big plays, being able to avoid them if you're a Winston-Salem fan, and 2 times they've taken the kickoff and been able to put the ball in plus territory, something that Winston-Salem couldn't have happen. Grambling's done pretty much everything they said they wanted to do. They wanted to control the line of scrimmage. They've been able to do that. They wanted to keep the reins on Woodbury. They've done that.
So a good look at Hargroves from the sidelines as he gets a call from Coach Payson of Winston-Salem on the defense on a 3rd down. And a 5-yard situation here for Grambling. Ball on the 44-yard line in Winston territory. Hayes again lobs it to the far sideline. That time it was the linebacker on that far side, Brown. Actually was watching the receiver, Bailey, and it actually hit him in the middle of the back.
That's the 2nd time one of the defensive backs for Winston-Salem didn't turn around and see football, and it's kind of hard to do that when you've got coverage. But this is a play I think he could have made the play. You have to turn around. Yeah, ball! Oh, well, my bad.
which is a good point you make, because Crichton is standing right there. He should have told Brown, ball, ball, ball.
Yes.
And, of course, as a linebacker, we know we run those tip drills, so it's you've got to make a quick turnaround and make the quick catch.
Hard to make catches in the back of your back.
Well, this is going to be Adrian Hairston for his first punt of the night. And standing back is Hines here for Winston-Salem. Grambling trying to get a little more protection on that line of scrimmage. Winston-Salem got in there with several players, but a high kick to the far sideline and out of bounds, and they'll walk this one way up the sideline. And let's see how far they walk it. Well, it's out to the 23. I thought it was going to be a little further up than that. So the first possession of the second half for Grambling goes with a kick back to Winston-Salem. And now it's up to the offense of Winston-Salem. Their defense has been the key of this game so far.
And if you're a numbers person, Winston-Salem, the worst quarter of the 4 usually for them has been the 3rd quarter. They've only scored 32 points, and Grambling defensively, they've given up 74 points. I don't know what that means, but somebody ought to be putting some points on the board.
Newkirk was the other one of our Budweiser ones to watch. He's had a respectively good half. 17 carries, 51 yards. As you see, that goose egg is one of those areas they've got to eliminate and get a score. First and 10, row 23 here for Winston. Woodbury rolling out, trying to throw upfield that time, and Actually, the tight end was the man that actually edged coming out of the backfield. Finally, Graham was the one that got closest to, and he could not come up with it. Jonathan Graham, the sophomore, 6'1" out of Greensboro, North Carolina.
One of those situations where Woodbury overthrows Graham and overthrows Crichton and underthrows Graham.
So second down, 10 yards to go. Coach Winbush, with his call from the sideline, had a chance to visit with him before the game, and he said, hey, we're prepared as well as we can. Grambling's got a good defense. We just have to try to find a soft underbelly somewhere. Right now, they're still looking. Woodbury in a jam, and is going to struggle to even get back to the original line of scrimmage as he's brought down from behind. And that is going to be Antoine Lawrence, who comes up with the sack in the back. He's out of Brunswick, Georgia, and makes another good catch as he catches the quarterback trying to throw it on a sack.
Pressure. Both teams have done it at points in this ball game. This time the Grambling line does a great job. The defensive backs a cover sack. Good job by Grambling.
So it brings up a third down and about 12 yards as one of the linemen for Winston-Salem down on the turf right now. Looks as if he may have a cramp. And for Winston-Salem, that's Jonathan Wilson. But he is down. He was in the huddle at one time, and then you can see he's starting to go down on it. Looks like his right leg. And he may very easily have a little cramp. It is not warm here by any means in San Diego. So once again, they are trying to, well, now they're going to the left leg, and it looks like they may be looking his knee a little bit. Now they're going back to the right. Wilson actually had gotten up after contact and gone back to the line of scrimmage.
Looks like, okay, it looks to me like Antoine Lawrence kind of rolls into the back of his knee.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's take another look from a little different angle here. You can see.
Looks like it's a left knee, Sam, I think. Yeah.
They're actually looking at the right leg.
Well, my left is right.
That's whatever. Depends on what side of the field you're looking at.
I'm on the left coast, so it's right. I mean, I'm turning everything around here.
Well, Wilson's going to struggle to get to his feet. Let's see how much weight he's able to put on that leg. And that's great to see that he's able to come off under his own steam. So Wilson comes out of there. He was the starting left tackle. That means that Brandon Williams, number 75, will replace him in the lineup. As Woodbury, 7 of 13 for 64 yards on the pass. 51 yards rushing for Newkirk. That's been the basic and the crux of their offense tonight. And now they're faced with a third down and about 12 to go and about only the 21-yard line. Woodbury, plenty of time to throw. Now it runs out. Throws it off, a little screen out to Edge again, and Edge is going to gain probably about 7 or 8 yards. But again, keep in mind they had about 12 to get, so they'll have to kick the ball away. Woodbury, a little Houdini getting away from that pressure that time.
Woodbury eluding the pressure, right to roll out. You see Edge out of the backfield. Mike should have got him there, but couldn't. But he does a good job of getting the ball to Edge. And then DeMarco Hamilton coming from no place to make the save and the tackle.
So a kick here for Chris Dinkins. You see so far 3 kicks for 35-7. 44 has been his longest. And of course, a very dangerous man, Frank Bailey, is back there and catches at his 40. And he cuts to the near side.
Here he goes.
Dinkins, the last man that can catch him, and he will not. A flag is going to be down back behind the play. But he steps out of just a light tackle around midfield. And then there was no way to catch him as Dinkins was screened and blocked away the kick of the last man that could catch him.
Doug Williams is not very happy, so you got to think this is against Grambling.
So that flag is all the way back at the 45-yard line. It is a hold, and it is on Grambling. So Doug Williams incensed on the sideline. And he wants the referee over to talk to me. Right now, thank you. Doug Williams, of course, senior year, threw for over 3,229 yards and 38 touchdowns.
Ready, legal block on the run back. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
So rub that one out by Bailey. And again, all the way back for now a 1st and 10. It'll be Grambling all the way back at their own 35-yard line. We'll return with more of our Gold Coast Classic from San Diego after this timeout.
As America's first choice in beer during the past century, we invite you to toast the new millennium with the same clean, crisp taste you've always enjoyed. Budweiser. Now in limited edition Millennium Magnums, bottles, and cans. Now, as always, this Bud's for you.
Introducing Colgate Total Fresh Stripe Toothpaste. A fresh minty gel that keeps working long after you've finished brushing. Fighting bad breath while you're out and about. Fighting cavities and tartar when you're center stage. It even fights plaque and gingivitis. For protection all day or all night. Colgate Total Fresh Stripe Toothpaste. The brushing that works between brushings.
At Burger King, we're always trying to make having your way better.
I love a new chicken club sandwich.
What's up with this?
It's the new chicken club. We're trying to give you the genuine club experience.
But the tasty new chicken club is excitement enough. A new way to satisfy your craving for our tender, juicy chicken sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and hickory smoked bacon for a real taste sensation anytime you want.
Can I buy you something to drink?
Burger King. Have it your way.
Well, I'd like to remind you that our second half of CIAA football here at the Gold Coast Classic being brought to you by our good friends at Minim Seat Stick. Grambling State leading Winston-Salem 9-0, but Stan, quite obviously, the Rams have just dodged a huge bullet. Huge. The holding call on Grambling, a step off from the spot of the foul, has them 1st and 10 at their own 35-yard line. As Bailey, of course, had run it back for a score. Out of the shotgun now, it'll be Hayes. You already see the big numbers on him. Continuing to mount on every possession. Inside handoff to White. See White trying to break out of a tackle up the middle that time as again the linebacker Brown got a hold of the shoestrings, wouldn't let him go.
And you've got to run just enough if you're Grambling to keep the defense honest, but they've been living and dying by the pass.
Wide receivers flanked to doubles on each side. Lone running back there is White with the Hayes. They fake the handoff this time, giving the left-hander time to throw. Steps up in the pocket. Anderson has it at the 45 and does not let this one get away. So Scotty Anderson makes the catch. And a 1st and 10 as Hargroves was over trying to make the stop but didn't get there in time. He's again throwing bullets here to Anderson.
If the play fake out of the gun, you got to respect it. That freezes the linebackers and allows Anderson to have one-on-one coverage. He's locked in with the corner. And again, just another great pass and catch by Hayes and Anderson.
Line did their job. That fake to the handoff throws the linebackers, dropping him back. And as you see, a linebacker being drugged by White again. Boy, Trey White has been an impressive runner tonight here for Grambling. Breaks the line of scrimmage, got the speed to break it all the way. Winston-Salem getting a tackle that time from Damian Workman.
Came into this ball game, Trey White, with 270-plus yards on 2 touchdowns and 60 carries. But, you know, Doug said it, we've said it earlier, he's a bull. He likes to hit you, and he's going to be a good player. Remember the name, SWAC fans, of Trey White.
118 last week against Alabama A&M, and he could easily get that tonight. Here's another bullet thrown to Anderson. I'll tell you what, Anderson just runs that little slant in, and great passing by Hayes. He gets there in a hurry.
We've called the name Eric Hargrove a couple of times. He's been locked in. He's got the unenviable task of being locked in with Scotty Anderson, and it's just pass and catch football.
I wonder if Doug Williams went to the roster and saw he was a redshirt freshman. They're definitely throwing at him tonight.
They sure are.
Anderson, of course, just a great skilled receiver. Doesn't round the patterns off. He turns them in sharp very nicely. There you see the numbers already over 100 yards for Anderson. And over closing in on 100 for Williams, the other wide receiver. Hayes into the end zone, and it's caught incomplete. Is intended for Washington that time. So Levi Washington, the intended receiver, down around the 4-yard line. Hayes again had himself a shot at the end zone that time, and Washington couldn't clear it out.
Well, they had 2 receivers last week in the Alabama State game to go over 100 yards passing, so this isn't something unusual. Again, you know, Ronald Hayes has thrown for over 2,200 yards, and again, maybe a break in what Grambling used to do of running the football. They're putting it in the air, and Doug says our strength is our passing game.
Second down, 10 yards to go. Inside the 20 in the red zone here is Grambling leading 9-0. Defense of Winston-Salem has been a lot tonight, but they haven't broken so far. They swing it out to Washington, slides down, as he tried to make that cut on the far sideline, and he's down at the 16-yard line.
That's the second time a big play could have happened, but a player falls down. This time Levi Washington just on a little quick pitch pass. Hey, he's got touchdown written all on, I think, if he catches that ball and keeps his feet.
Andre Chen comes in as the nickel back. They'll take the linebacker, number 42, Brown, out of there. You see the third down conversions for Grambling. They're 0-4. Interesting, Winston is 4 for 11 tonight on the third down, and that kind of shows that possession number that you showed us a few moments ago, with Winston just top-heavy in that number. But trailing on the scoreboard 9-0. Big play here on the third down for both clubs. Hayes back to throw. Throws over the middle and overthrows his intended receiver, trying to catch that one in that little soft spot underneath, and overthrows Vaughn Brown, one of the running backs coming out of the backfield. So Brown is overthrown by Hayes. It'll bring up a field goal try by Richmond. Lawrence Richmond has hit one early in the game, got one up on 24 and good. And he'll have another try here. This one will come from the 22-yard line, a 32-yard try here by Lawrence Richmond. The hold by Bailey. The snap, the kick, this by Richmond is up, and it is good. So a 32-yard field goal by Grambling has him in double figures with 12. But again, you have to look at the defense of Winston-Salem has done their job one more time. Now they hand it off to the offense that said, fellas, we've got to have some help. We're back in a moment.
If a butterfly flaps its wings in Kansas and a tidal wave rises in the Pacific Ocean, what happens when I do this? Are you feeling it?
DMX technology, performance you can feel. Are you feeling it?
My grandma was a daring young woman, driving her trusty General Motors car to California, then back to New York. That's where she met Grandpa. So when I announced I was off to California in my trusty GM car, Grandma knew I'd be just fine. And so did I.
General Motors, cars and trucks you can count on wherever life takes you. People in motion.
Step up. Learn to see farther. Learn there are teachers who won't allow you to fail. Learn to dance, to draw. Learn that the real challenge doesn't come from the outside, but from within. And that there's more to you than you ever knew. Be all you can be.
Coach Kermit Blunt on the sideline for Winston-Salem, looking to the scoreboard and saying, you know, we're only down 12-0. He's got some great players on the field. And another player that's going to get his playing time this afternoon is one we salute tonight. Carmen Choice, a 3.58 grade point average, a junior linebacker, molecular biology from Charleston, South Carolina. U.S. Army salutes him as the man that's being all he can be. Carmen Choice, one of our top scholar athletes tonight from Winston-Salem.
3.58 is molecular.
No, 3.85.
Well, I'll tell you, that shows you how smart I am. I can't even get the numbers, the GPA right.
Man.
It's molecular biology. What is that?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I don't understand.
They handed it to me, and I tried to read it. Here's the kickoff as Winston-Salem will get their hands on the ball one more time. Trying to get a little run back, and they fumble the football. It's up for grabs. It's still being skirmished for, and it looks like Grambling has come up with a big fumble recovery. Just this last year, two big turnovers by Grambling turned it right back in their favor, and Winston-Salem now has fumbled the football away. Let's take a look at the return once again. This is going to be Shepard returning the ball. He caught two big passes early.
It looks like he runs. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, good strip. Couldn't tell if that was who exactly was that made the initial hit. Byron Addison makes the hit, and I can't tell who made the strip. I think it could have been possibly Clinton Hall.
That was like button. Who's got the button underneath all that stuff? So again, a fumble recovery here by Grambling, and they're right back in business now. As here's Hayes back to throw, under pressure. Throws to the 5-yard line. A diving try, tried once again as they have been alternating in and out with several of their receivers. And trying to get Gaskins back down there again for the catch, but it's in and out of his hands.
So Winston's done a good job since about the middle of the second quarter of putting pressure on Hayes, but they still haven't sacked him, and it appears to me that he still has the timing he needs to get the passes off.
Addison's fumble recovery has Grambling second down and 10 yards to go. Hayes mounting those numbers up. They're at the 20-yard line of Winston. They give it off. First back through. And again, they try to go with a little bit of their depth at the middle this time. They go to Brown. And Brown tries to carry it for some yardage in the middle. Brown rushed for shade under 100 yards so far this year. He's kind of a downhill runner, so to speak, by Coach Williams, and just simply says he just needed some more size. And once he gets in the open field, he can run like the wind, but just can't get there. Third down, they gain 3 on the play. They get about 2.5, so they got about 7.5 needed here for the first half. In field goal territory again, though. Hayes to the end zone to Anderson. Caught it at the 4. Knocked off his feet and down at the 1-yard line. Well, they collapse on him. Alexander back there along with Hargrove again, I believe. But nonetheless, Anderson. Great pass again by Hayes. Great sounds of football as well as Anderson gets hit. Sounded like boom to me, didn't you?
And Hayes caught Winston-Salem in a middle blitz, and they just go one-on-one. And once again, you're finding Anderson in the seams, and he's a great receiver. And when he catches the football, he knows what to do with it. This time takes a licking, keeps on ticking, puts it in goal line territory for Grambling.
Well, they got their main men in now, including their tailback White, and they're now on the power I. They give it to White, dives in, touchdown Grambling from 1. So Grambling scores from only a yard out after getting a fumble recovery. And in the third period, they start to draw away now, leading with a score of 18-0 with a point after still to come. So you can just call on that defense just so long, and all of a sudden something's going to turn around. But this time on a kickoff return, you're going to lose the opportunity, and the offense for Grambling takes advantage of it. Richmond with the extra point. And it's blocked. So it is 18-0 on the board for Grambling. They get a short score as Baltimore is Trey White. He gets his second score of the night, and Grambling has an 18-0 lead. Winston-Salem is down, but not out. We still have 7:56 to go in the third. The Gold Coast Bowl in San Diego. You see the time left in the third, and a 18-0 lead by Winston-Salem as Jennings awaits the kick once again of Richmond for Grambling. Nice end-over-end kick. This time there'll be no decision on who takes it. It's Jennings. Good hole up the middle. Takes it out to the 31-yard line. This will be one of those nice field positions here for Winston-Salem. They've been kind of in a hole most of the game tonight, and again fumbled it away. And a 6-point. You see the score. 4 plays, 19 yards, minute 14, and you see the man to the right of your screen there. That's Scott Anderson. Remember the catch he made down at the 1-yard line? Well, it actually was a great catch to keep them heading for the end zone, but it also tied a school record at Grambling for number of catches in a season for 60. He now ties Mike Moore for the record, 60 catches by Moore back in 1977. Anderson will definitely break that, and probably before this game is over. 18-0, Winston-Salem trailing. Here battling the third. He gets to Newkirk, and Newkirk will go nowhere. Oh, a big defense in the front line for Grambling as they just shut that one down, and that is Dante Newell. Newell out of Pearl, Pennsylvania. 6'1", 255. He belted him hard after the line of scrimmage.
One of the most consistent players on the Grambling squad, just a dominant force inside. He just took on the guard and bowled him over and made the tackle. And now, obviously, they're keying on Newkirk to run the football, and what's going to happen is going to put more pressure on those wide receivers for Winston-Salem to make the big play.
And an injured player by Winston-Salem down on the field, struggling to get to his feet. 7 minutes, 28 seconds left to go before the third period. By the way, we'd like to remind all of you SWAC fans watching along with us tonight that the SWAC championship game, December the 11th in Birmingham's Legion Field. And it appears that Jackson State has already qualified over in the East. Kind of a different situation in the West, though, because Texas Southern and Southern playing today, depending on how that one comes out. If Texas Southern wins, they would be the winners of the West. If Southern wins, it'll come down to the Bayou Classic with they in Grambling. Should be a great game.
Should be a great game.
SWAC getting their publicity on national television for the Bayou, as NBC will carry that game live. And, of course, BET will carry the championship game live of the SWAC on December the 11th from Birmingham.
Kermit Blunt very concerned not only about what's happening in this ball game, but by one of his linemen, Eddie Stevens, a trainer for, there he is, Eddie, with the red shirt on down there from Winston-Salem, one of the better trainers not only in college football, but in this whole area. Does a good job getting guys up. That's
and the man getting up is Newkirk. He really got stuck. And, of course, that stick put on him just a moment ago by Newell. And you can almost hear that one as well. Boom, right there. Just as he got the ball, Newell was right there. And now you're starting to see that offensive line for Winston-Salem. They may have had the size, but now the quickness of Grambling may be taking its effect on them.
It certainly is. It looks that way. I mean, they're just playing, just pinning their ears back and rushing, and you got to think when they're in long yard situations, Winston-Salem's going to have to put the football in the air.
McGowan's rolls to the right, out of the shotgun. Woodbury throws it to McGowan's. Got it back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe a gain of 2, and that's all. Good closing down on the defense on the far side, and great play by Terrence Dukes, one of the linebackers on the coverage. We take a look at Newkirk on the sideline, and there, of course, on the other side is Kelvin Pearson, who was also in on that defensive stick.
Those are two of the better tacklers on the Grambling squad. Pearson with 42 and 5 interceptions leads his Grambling squad. They came in and covered very quickly.
Pearson was called by his coach maybe one of the best hitters on the club. May not be the strongest simply because of his size, but he said he will come to hit you.
One of those situations Winston-Salem wanted to avoid, a 3rd and 10 situation.
And back is Woodbury. He'll run this out of the pocket. Nobody's going to be able to catch him this time. And again, trying to make that cut. He was looking to slide, but I think he also had an idea of running for a few more yards. Gets enough for the first down as he gains 13 on the play.
He's been under pressure most of this football game. This time the open is right there in the middle. A lead block by Andrews, and yeah, it does. Fortunately, he had to go 10 yards. Had he needed 12, he wouldn't have made it. But they get the first down and keep this drive. And Winston, you know, you can't talk about it enough. They have to put points on the board this possession.
Now with Newkirk out of there, they've gone to the shotgun, which would give you an indication they're definitely going to throw on as many of these downs as they can. Grambling, of course, knows that, and they're set for the defenses. Here's Woodbury. Going underneath to McGowan's. McGowan has it at the 45. It's a nice-looking cut, but there's not a lot of action there. It doesn't create anything as well as Grambling covers on the side. Good look at Newkirk. He's up and certainly not okay, but he's on the sidelines now. And again, with 49 rushing yards tonight, he had 51 before the loss of 2. And a good look again at Woodbury.
With Newkirk out, you can't expect to see them go with twin wides to both sides, one back, probably shotgun. Just put this football in the air, or Woodbury running on some quarterback draw.
Lone running back there is Damian Washington, number 25. Woodbury taking a lot of time, looking to swing this out to Washington, but elects to go back the other way and carry it. Out of bounds he goes. He'll gain about 3 more plays. And it's going to be a 3rd down play, and with that gain, he'll still need about 5.5 yards for the first down. So Woodbury that time saw a lot of black and gold shirts coming after him. Again, I think this is set up stand to look for Washington swinging out of that backfield a little bit.
I think that was the first read to look for Washington, or maybe Hines clearing down the middle. But then again, you see, Woodbury takes it. You're in a situation there where you got to get some points. You might even want to see him turn that up a little bit, pick up another yard. But he's a quarterback, and don't want him to get hurt.
Well, they've got the nickel backs in there for Grambling spread all over on this 3rd down and pass situation. There's the swing out to Washington, and Washington will have just enough, or will he? Boy, he got nailed right at the post as he tried to turn that corner and got a big hit from the outside there, but it may be close for a first down.
Did you see the quickness of which number 3, Kevin Pearson and Demario Hamilton come in and cover? Watch this. They don't take many steps, and there they meet him at it. Boom!
Ooh, it hurts. Watch it again from another level.
And he's short. Oh, he made it. Just made it by
just enough for the first down. Yes, Mom, I still want to play football, says Washington. And now Woodburn doesn't like what he sees in the first down call, so he's going to come to the sideline with a timeout for Winston-Salem. 4:39 left to go here in the third period. Well, we'd like to remind you that, of course, with the football season and the CIAA winding to a halt now, with the CIAA championship going to Winston-Salem, can they repeat as the CIAA basketball champions? Well, we'll have to try to do so at the beautiful new Raleigh Sports and Entertainment Arena as we move over there for the 2000 tournament. Starts the latter part of February, goes into March. There's your ticket number to call, and Stan, I'm really looking forward to our 5 regular season games and then a big tournament, including the women's and the men's championship on March 4th.
Can't wait. All my friends back in North and South Carolina, Virginia, you just saw the number now.
Do it.
You just saw the number. Don't call me. I don't have any tickets. I can barely get a press pass. Don't call me. I don't have any. I tell you now. What I do, my friends, you know, they're calling me, saying, give me some tickets.
Yeah.
I don't have any tickets.
Hey, folks, there's 20,000 seats in the place. You know, plenty of tickets, okay?
Yeah, it's a big place. That's why we moved it to Raleigh. It's a big place. You can get one.
All right.
Call that number.
Well, Doug Williams, he may be ahead by 18-0, but still not a happy camper right now as his defense trying to shore up a bit here as the Winston-Salem offense has been pretty dormy all night long. Woodbury at least has them into Grambling territory here. He looks to air one out that side and totally pushed out of bounds to the far side. Where in the world was he going? That was Hines, and he was hooked up on the far side with Pearson, and they just aptly crashed right into the down markers. Let's take a look at this again.
Well, I told you that a minute ago that Calvin Pearson liked to hit you, and he's got the 5-yard chuck. He just puts him right in there. Boom! It goes into the bench and to the sideline, guys. Hey.
Oh, my. Well, Pearson, as long as he's got him out in front of him, makes the check, knocks him out of bounds. 2nd down and 10 yards to go. Woodbury with Washington still in the backfield with Newkirk on the sideline, but running and trying to warm up, I think. Here's the pitch. Out it comes to Washington. Turns the corner, tries to get it upfield. Washington, a sophomore out of Wilmington, North Carolina, 5'8", 180. Turns it for about 3 or 4 yards, but brings up a 3rd down. And Stan, have they had a 3rd down and short yardage situation all day? I don't think so.
It's been tough on them. I think their conversion's like 3 out of 14 or something, and it's just been very difficult for Winston-Salem to really establish that short yards when they need it.
See them really trying to test that leg as much as they can, trying to test the balance on that right leg of Newkirk. You see the 3rd down conversions here for Winston-Salem. Woodbury checking those trips to the right. Looking that way, but here comes the big rush from Dukes. Woodbury's airing it out. Jump ball, and it's complete. I believe that's McCowan's. It is. Big catch at the 19 yards by McCowan's. What a catch by Chris McCowan's out of Anderson, South Carolina. The senior, who had only 8 catches coming to the game tonight, makes his 3rd of the game, and what a big one there for Winston-Salem.
Torrey Woodbury does a good job of avoiding the pressure. There's my man Dukes putting the pressure on him. Had to roll him to the right and throw against his body, and a nice little floater. Good catch by Chris McGowan.
That's a jump ball because Williams was right there in vicinity as well. Williams got kind of tangled up there, Stan, and he had to recover pretty nicely there.
Sure did.
So again, with a 3:35 left to go here in the 3rd, Winston-Salem down 18-0, but they are now driving. Their best drive of the night. Woodbury rolling. Big pressure on and drop down. And Grambling puts the big rush on by Scott Wicker. Their number 2 tackler from the middle linebacker spot and drops him down for a big loss. All the way back to the 27-yard line.
Scott Wicker does a good thing if you're a linebacker. He keeps his feet. He gets blocked, but he keeps chopping down the line of scrimmage. You know, he missed some ball games this season with an injured shoulder, but makes a great open field tackle on Torrey Woodbury. And Woodbury's a tough guy to bring down. Yeah, you should be happy, Scott.
Big play there is Winston-Salem again trying to regroup now with a 2nd down. They will give him a loss of about 9 yards, so it's 2nd down and 19. They have 2nd and 18 on the board. That's probably as close. As Woodbury out of that shotgun again. Rolling to his right. There's a little shovel pass inside to Washington. He just barely gets away from one tackler. Will roll for about a yard. I want to tell you, there's nobody more disappointed than a couple of down linemen, in particular Brian Andrews, number 70. He had the block and was containing his man, and he slipped off of him and tripped up Washington. That could have gone for some good yardage for Winston.
Nice ball by them. You got to keep some pressure on him and get Damon Washington, the guy who hasn't caught many passes this season, only 5, and doesn't carry the football very often. There's a little shovel pass, and one more block, and I think you're looking at some big plays out of Winston-Salem.
One other player that'll probably look back at that as well is Walter Watkins, number 62. His contained block was there for just a amount of time, but didn't hold up. Third down, long yardage. What else is new for Winston? Big rush is on, and Woodbury, who is able to do it, runs away from it. Won't get enough for the first down as he high steps out of bounds with a 4th down at about 12 yards needed for the first down. And Winston will send the kicking team back on. They have desperately got to get a field goal from Thomas. He's missed 2 tonight.
Still plenty of time in this football game for Winston to mount a drive. Again, Woodbury's been under constant pressure this whole game, Sam. He's running for his life on the 3rd down situation. This is one I think, you're safety, but you got to push that up. You got to turn that up and try to pick up some extra yards right now.
Winston-Salem already headed for the Pioneer Bowl, unless they should qualify for the Division II playoffs. Here's the snap. Thomas's kick is up, got plenty of leg on it, and this time it is good. So Thomas kicks one through for Winston-Salem, and they crack the 0 and make it an 18-3 game with 1:45 left to go in the 3rd. Stan, it's only 3 points, but it's almost like a mountain they just come over, finally getting on the board against Grambling.
Now you ask your defense, please rise up. We're going to the 4th quarter. Something in the interest of note. Winston-Salem has not given up a point in the 4th quarter. Kermit Blunt's prides his team on execution and being in great condition for the 4th quarter. They're going to need to call on that right now to win this football game. But yeah, big points by Thomas getting the field.
So as Winston-Salem trots onto the field, and of course their coaching staff on one side, Doug Williams on the other, knowing full well that his defense gave up, they gave up didn't give up the score. And Kermit Blunt looking on. Well, I thought it was nice at halftime. Had a chance to really kind of get into the personalities of both Doug Williams and Kermit Blunt. And both inside really still churn for that competitive juices.
Oh, I like Kermit. He's a guy, like I said, he went to Winston-Salem. He coached a couple other places down to the East Carolinas and South Carolina State at Howard. The opportunity to come back home, he did that. He's taken his programs piece by piece and put them into not only a contender for CIAA, but also, I'll tell you, this is a team that gets a chance to get to the NCAA field. I think they can do some damage in the NCAA.
Kermit also gives a lot of credit to, of course, the fine folks down at Bill Jeffries down at South Carolina State. Said he learned a lot in the 5 years down there. They really groomed him for the job at Winston-Salem. Down his 7th year, and what a year it has been. Undefeated in the CIAA this year. Here's the kick coming deep, and that is Bailey. He ran a punt back a few moments ago that was called back when he's in the open field. He tries to knock him down. Frank Bailey shows you why he is one of the biggest threats in all of college football. Marcus Lilly, number 24, was the last man to get a shot at him and knocked him out of bounds after Bailey had taken it all the way down from his own 7-yard line. Thomas got a good kick on this thing, but Bailey, look how well they seal him off on the sideline.
5'7", 175 pounds, and no one touches him. Nobody touches him. He gets to the 35-yard line. Sean Thomas makes that tackle, saves it, pushes him out of bounds.
So Lilly knocks him out of bounds at the 35. Grambling again, coming right back to work. There you see the 6 minutes even for the drive for the field goal by Thomas from 38. But now Grambling is back in working order again in their offense, and the defense that has been the workhorse of Winston tonight. Here's the under pass going to Anderson. Anderson looking for a block, and the fumble's on the ground. It's still up for grabs, and I think Grambling would come up with it. It looked like it was Winston-Salem's ball for a moment. Are they signaling Winston? They are. Alexander was near the bottom of the pack. And let's see who finally got up off the back. And then a big break here for Winston-Salem. Anderson, the second fumble he has had tonight now.
Middle screen, wide receiver screen right there. This play is going for good yardage. You got to tuck that football in. Let's see. When there's a collision once, oh, yeah, okay, I see. Deron Alexander makes a deflection. The ball scoots out. You got to fall on that football. Who gets that?
Well, it looked like Thomas Washington was in the vicinity. I'm not sure if he got it, number 96 or not. Well, that's a big play for Winston-Salem. If their offense can do what they did a moment ago, at least to get some more points on here before too much is gone in the early part of the 4th period. We have 1:19 to go in the 3rd. Blitz is on. Woodbury dumps it. They get it out here again, and that's neutral. He takes it up to the 30-yard line, almost a gain of a full 10.
Wssu's had a lot of success this season throwing the ball to Newkirk. Newkirk's caught about 9 passes, 1 touchdown. So he has good hands, but again, you want to try to find a way to get the ball to him in the open field. This is a safety, a swing pass, let him run.
They call him the workhorse out of Wallace, North Carolina, and you can see why, because he will religiously carry the ball 25 or 30 times. May not get that tonight in the fact that he had to sit out a while after really getting stuck by the Grambling defense. Just shy of a first down, second down, and about a half a yard needed. McGowan's who made a great catch of a pass a moment ago as Woodbury back to throw underneath coverage, and he's got another one to pull it right on the mark that time, and Jonathan Graham comes up with a great catch.
You like to be in a 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2 situation. Makes it very easy for your quarterback to make play calls. This time he can just lock in. You can throw that ball and make the run if you get a chance to do that. That's a good pass and a nice catch. Look at that nice tight spiral, low and away from the defender. Good catch.
So 1st and 10 for Winston-Salem again. They have it out to the 45. Woodbury starting to get a little more confidence here, Stan, as he throws that football. And his offensive line doing a little better job here. They picked up the blitz nicely. Here it comes again. Woodbury runs away from it. And now he's going to take it out of bounds and gains another 3 or 4 yards.
Wow, Woodbury's got great. But you see a little spin pivot that time? You like that? I like that.
Hey, Guidry had a shot at him. George Guidry is their top tackler. And, of course, number 47 comes on the blitz from the outside linebacker spot. And Woodbury says, thank you very much. You've been watching too much of that MTV or Soul Train.
That was a little something, little dance, that little pirouette. You know what they call it?
That was sweet.
It's over my head.
Coach Winbush has sent in the signal. And Woodbury now directing traffic around as he gets Newkirk on the proper side. Trips out to the far right side. Wide side of the field here for Winston. 2nd down, and there comes a blitz again, this time by Dukes. Woodbury, he lets it go upfield again. McCowan's, he's got it again! Down to the 17-yard line, McGowan's makes the catch, catches it out in front of Michael Grant. And what a pass, what a play by McGowan's again.
Wow, to be an athlete, you have to have athletes make big plays. And both of these guys, Torrey Woodbury, we've said it all day long. Dukes puts the pressure on him, fluxes him out of the pocket, motion, continue to run, puts a strike right there, and a great catch by the big-time receiver, the big play receiver, Chris McGowan.
Well, McGowan makes the catch as the period comes to a close. His happiness is on the end of a 38-yard strike, and Michael Grant says, oh, my, I gave up a big play, and Winston may be back in this game. We'll start the 4th quarter. The Gold Coast Classic from San Diego after you and I pause for this timeout. A little bit more after a field goal, and now a great pass and run here by the Rams. Have them knocking on the door down at the 16-yard line in Grambling territory. Big night. A great opportunity for Winston to come to the coast.
Thank the people with the Gold Coast Classic. They've done a great job putting the 3rd Classic on. Winston-Salem, Grambling, 2 great competitors. It's just been a great week.
By the way, is anybody running the office back at the CIAA office?
No, I don't know. We got
out here.
We got the girls back here. Yeah, man. Everybody, you know, hey.
They're waiting for just a moment here. So again, Woodbury has his club to attention. 1st down. 10 yards to go. They can get a 1st down at the 6. Hines comes split to the right side. Lone running back is Newkirk. Just starting the 4th period of tonight's game. Quick pitch goes out to Newkirk. Turns the corner looking for a block. He's got it. Down to the 10. And is finally knocked down around the 7 or 8 yard line.
Call one of the first times tonight, Sam, we've seen the speed option by Winston-Salem, where it was just a straight ball fake into the line, and then you see you can get the pitch, and that time to get Newkirk on the corner, and he can pick up some yards.
Say, we'd like to remind you that we have competition going on throughout the night, and our power punt coming up, my speed stick brought to you by Minnan. How about that for a kick? Stephon Foster coming out at a kick of 34 yards and is our winner of some Reebok gifts. Our Irish Spring bringing you our punt competition once again here from San Diego, California. Oh, a nice job as we have all kinds of folks getting some Reebok goodies here. Had a pretty nice kick, as a matter of fact, 34 yards. Second down, 2 yards to go. Newkirk's got that and more. Touchdown, Winston-Salem. So just as they did last year, Grambling let them just hang on, and now all of a sudden with 14:48 to go, a lot of time in the fourth period, Winston-Salem has scored their first touchdown of the night.
Terry Newkirk, a powerful runner, had the injury earlier but comes back. It's a simple little dive play. Good block, good inside block by Brian Andrews. Clears away Newkirk for the touchdown. We got ourselves a ball game.
18-6 with the extra point still to come. Make that 18-9, excuse me. The extra point is up, and it is good. So the extra point is on with 7 points on the board for Winston. It's 18-10. An 8-point game here is Winston. Keep in mind a missed extra point by Grambling. They come back to haunt him. Or the 2 field goals missed by Winston-Salem. Still more to come. Don't go away. First, he was nursing an injury on the sideline. He comes in, helps the Winston-Salem Rams get a touchdown, 65 yards rushing for the night, now 18-10. Grambling has the 8-point lead, and boy, did the Rams need that drive. And the last 2, as a matter of fact, to get a field goal out of Thomas. Finally, it's 1 of 3, and then gets a big drive. Great catch by McCallum. Second time he's done so tonight.
I feel like the momentum may finally be swinging.
Oh, my. Thomas with a fair catch called for on the near sideline. Wisely, number 45. That's going to be Kevin Brooks. Sophomore out of Bowie, Maryland, makes the fair catch, and just off the bat, Thomas has a very bad kick, and it's going to be extra field position for Grambling.
Well, Sam, as solid as the defense is for Winston, you know, I think it might have been a good decision.
Let's take a look at our Reebok stats through 3 periods of play. 315 yards for Grambling. But look at the balance now coming in a little bit better here for Winston-Salem now.
Well, we expected Winston-Salem to win the ground game and Grambling to win the passing game. Now it's going to be a matter of which defense can play solid these final 15 minutes.
Lionel Hayes under center here for Grambling. His club up by 8. Little delay, handoff goes to White, and the defense up front that time for Winston-Salem as they make the big play and don't let him get anywhere. Well, good penetration that time. Number 96, Thomas Washington, making the play. Washington, again, number 2 tackler, 39, 8 tackles for loss. Real play at the next level, his coach believes. 4-year starter. Kind of went crazy with that black stuff around his eyes, but other than that, you see a couple of guys on TV today, it's no longer just a little strip under your eye. It's your whole cheek now. I mean, it's a whole cheek. Second down, a loss of 3 on the play. Hayes back to throw. So Williams just off his fingertips. Had good coverage out of that corner that time by Darrell Wilson from Knoxville, North Carolina.
And keep in mind, once again, that in the 9 games that Winston-Salem has played, they've not given up a single point. A field goal, a touchdown, a safety, nada, nothing in the fourth quarter. Zippo.
Anderson, by the way, who now has surpassed the number of catches in a season for a receiver by Grambling, has caught 8 of those passes for 149 yards. And you know, number 1 will be the number 1 receiver for Hayes on this throw. He's on single coverage on the near side with Hargroves, and there he is again. Hayes got a great catch, and the helmet comes off, and the ball goes the other way. Did the ground cause the fumble? Incomplete pass. Oh, my. Bright came up to really stick him here. Also, Wilson came over. I'm not really sure who put the last hit on him, but the helmet went one way and the ball went the other way.
Anderson's a strong guy to come across the middle. Bobbles it, almost makes a super catch, and boom! That's Deron Alexander. Just wait a minute. Not tonight.
Well, that almost could be a case for Grambling. Was his knee down before the hit came to knock it away?
I think he was still bobbling a little bit.
Could have been. 4th down, though, for Grambling as the defense for Winston does their job again. Only 1 putt for 21, and he just got that one out of there, but he's going to get a flag, and it's roughing the kicker as Hines tries to bring it upfield. And now Deron Alexander is now protesting he was blocked into the kicker.
He's got a valid case, Sam, I'll tell you, because he was blocked into it. As a matter of fact, it looked like the kicker ran into Alexander after he was down.
Let's see. We'll have an opportunity to take a look at that again with a 18-10 lead. Let's take a look at, again, the kick getting off here. Grambling's kicker. Harrison punting only 2 times so far for the night. High snap, so it took him a while.
You could see at the end of the play, Alexander flies, and he's got both feet on the ground, and then he rolls into him. Nah,
that was a little weak there, folks.
No, sir. No, sirree.
And you saw that the avoidance of the contact there, flying through, was number 45, Victor White. He missed the contact. However, Harrison went down, and then that's when they rolled together on the ground.
Now, they're going to call this running into the kicker or roughing. If it's roughing, it'll be a
We have running into the kicker. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
Good observation there, pal. Nice going, because the roughing would have been the first down. Rolling in, of course, are, in that situation, only a 5-yard, and they have to kick it away anyway.
So now the question is, if you're Winston-Salem, do you put the punt block on again, or do you sit back and try to get the return?
They'll step it off to the 40-yard line, and that's where they'll snap the ball from. Adrian Harrison again, you saw. Quickly down. So Winston-Salem, whose offense has suddenly been found in an old duffel bag back in the locker room and brought it out here, dusted off, and has gone to work. And they're back in the game, trailing by 8. The SWAC against the CIAA in the Gold Coast Classic rolls on in a moment.
It'll be good to see Uncle George again. I remember he'd pull up in his General Motors car, and a few minutes later, we'd hear him. He taught us about pride and love and about life. He'd say, son, always buy quality, and always buy from people that show you some respect. So like Uncle George, I'm a GM man.
General Motors, cars and trucks you can count on for all the roads you travel. People in motion.
If a butterfly flaps its wings in Kansas, and a tidal wave rises in the Pacific Ocean, what happens when I do this? Are you feeling that?
DMX technology, performance you can feel. Are you feeling it?
Sam Smith along with Stan Litter as we greet you back. Mid and Speed Stick bring you 4th period action of the Gold Coast Classic. Thanks once again to John Warren and his lovely wife Jerry. They've been our hosts here in San Diego. All of our great television crew, Tom Lundy and all of the men and women behind the scene make our job a lot easier here. All of them, we say thank you very much. Make our trip to San Diego enjoyable. And our thanks to the coaching staff, SIDs, and all at the 2 universities for their sharing of their information with us. So we get ready for a snap of the ball on a 1st and 10 here on the possession by Woodbury. Throwing over the middle, that time just much too high. Throwing for a tight end over the middle, Wooten. Overthrew him badly. Graham was the next receiver and fell well short of him.
It seems like when Winston-Salem gets in a situation where they desperately need points or field position, they go to that trip set formation. They did that time, went to the inside guy. That time, Arnell Wooten, the ball goes between his hands.
Winston-Salem, one of the top teams in all of the CIAA. Mostly on defense. And again, as we alluded to, have not given up a point in the 4th period. Right now, their defense is getting a little rest as the offense has to go to work. 2nd down and 10. Woodbury fakes the handoff and then finally does give it as they try to get some running room up the middle that time. And running in is Devin Johnson. Johnson getting the call here and giving Newkirk a little bit of a rest.
You got to wonder if Terry Newkirk, he went out about 2 possessions prior to that, before the touchdown run, has an injured leg or ankle. I just wonder if he's okay, because I would think he'd be back in there pretty soon.
Well, of course, he came in to give him a good run on that touchdown drive and an opportunity to score from only 7 yards out. So he may have dinged it up again on his dive into the end zone. 3rd down, 9 yards to go for Winston. 12:52 to go in the game. They trail 18-10. Snap back to Woodbury. Throw too tall for McGowan that time. You know, I got to give credit to both of these centers tonight. Travis Hairston for Winston-Salem. On the other side, Corey Smith. It is not easy. If you'd like to try to see that with your head stuck down in between your legs to try to throw on the shotgun and then all of a sudden sit up and make a normal snap and then try to block the nose guard over you. Try that sometime. It's not easy. They've done great.
And make the read. Also make the read. And they got to call the line, line plays. It's difficult.
Fourth down, and they need to steal 9 yards as Dinkins back in. 4 kicks tonight. 35-yard average. 44 his longest, and of course Bailey has run one back, but it was called back because of a hold. And he'll kick to him again. Bailey runs away to try to get this one and gets it back at the 31. Tries to get a seal on the sideline and comes out of bounds. Gets a pretty good hit right at the out-of-bounds line. As back there again. As a matter of fact, the man that knocked him out of bounds on one of the long runs, that's Marcus Lilly, was back there playing it on the special teams again. So 1st and 10 for Grambling now as they take over the football back in their own territory. And they'll have it out of bounds right at the 40-yard line, and that's where they'll go to the line of scrimmage. Now they're in a football game, though, as Winston-Salem has come back to cut it to an 18-10 game. Anderson, who has set the record for most catches in a season for a wide receiver for Grambling, is flipped to the low side. 3 trips to the other side as they pitch it out, going to White, trying to get the block in the corner, and they won't get it. Great play on the outside by Darrell Wilson, the outside left cornerback, and he comes in to make a great save.
Darrell Wilson's got 32 tackles, does a good job of containment, keeping the play inside, won't be blocked, and come in. There's the block, right? Watch Wilson fight that tackler, boom, and coming in, bring White down. Good play by Winston-Salem State's Darrell Wilson.
And it was able to stay with it. Nickelback coming in is Eric Richburg, number 34. Linebacker Brown goes out for Winston-Salem as they expect the field to be flooded, and it is. 3 wide receivers, but all 3 of them offside here for Grambling. They had to get back in a hurry on the near side. Here's Woodburn. They throw it out to the near side, trying to get it out to another one of the players that came off the bench for them. And out here is Randy Hines. Hines, a sophomore quarterback. And the minute I saw that 17, I said, boy, that looks like it could be the old flea flicker type thing. And I think it was set up, but there is a flag down. And I'm not so sure there wasn't somebody past the line of scrimmage.
Being left-handed is a definite advantage. Hines, they put this in as a wrinkle. Maybe later on you get Hines in there and throw that pass. Nice dig.
Calvin Bryant, number 44, was the one who was on the end of that play, and it does go against Grambling here. And it is a holding call. So it'll be the 2nd down play, but it'll come from the 22nd for Grambling. And I tell you, one guy that cannot be a happy camper on the far sideline is Doug Williams. He has seen his offense build up to a solid lead, and now all of a sudden Winston-Salem's coming back on him here in the 2nd half.
Winston-Salem will continue to chip away. The defense is going to keep them in this football game. It's going to be up to the offense to get some points on the board.
Just 2 men rushing on this. They fly everybody back. They throw this one underneath. They get it to Williams. Williams in trouble in the backfield, but breaks out of it. He'll get up to the line of scrimmage and then gain about 4 more yards as he'll really work hard. And once again at the bottom of the stack, here comes that 44 again, and that's Bryant. And a player is down, and I'm not sure who that might be. Williams, nonetheless, getting this little pass.
This play has been very successful for Grambling. Just a little inside flanker screen, and then letting him be an athlete. Thought his knee may have touched down then, but again, has balance and got to pick up a few extra yards. He's a tough kid, this kid. Walter Williams, only a junior, 6'1", 210 pounds. Came into the game with 21 catches. Look at it, he got good agility. His knee didn't touch.
It did not. By the way, this is not the Walter Williams that has a syndicated radio show that's heard around the country. Some of you may or may not have heard of it. An African-American gentleman that has some tremendous credentials. And up is Bailey. And good to see him up and walking off under his own steam. He was out, I think, making a block on one of the linebackers that had come from the opposite side as Woodbury went to the far side.
And Doug Williams will put his arm around him and say, son, don't want you blocking, just run the ball.
That's right.
That's why he don't want you blocking.
3rd down. My, oh my, it's about 21 yards needed here for Grambling.
And they've made these big plays. Even though they're 1 out of 8 in 3rd down conversion, seems like every time Gramblings need a big play to keep the drive going, they've done that. Winston's got to stand tall now.
Out of the shotgun is Hayes. Lone running back is Brown. They're throwing deep for Anderson. Tipped in the air, intercepted. Back it comes with Wilson. Takes it all the way down inside the 35-yard line. They were going for broke. Trying to get that upfield. They were trying to go to Gaskin. It was tipped by one of the inside guys, and back behind him, they get over to Wilson, who makes the intercept for Winston-Salem.
Locked in one-on-one coverage. A great, the big play you asked for it by the Winston-Salem defense. They will deliver. Three-man rush on Hayes. He floats this one, puts a little air under it. The ball is deflected. It looked like by Willie Cricht.
It was, yeah.
Willie Cricht deflects the ball, and Darrell Wilson, that's his 5th interception of the season. The 5'11" senior playing possibly his last football game. Always around the football. Winston-Salem's big play defense.
That was their 21st interception of the year. So this defense, and again, no one has scored on them in a 4th period yet. All year. Underneath. Pass. Comes straight ahead. Woodbury. Look at, he's still on his feet. Trying to take it all the way to the goal line. He brings it in. Touchdown, Winston-Salem. And taking it in is Chapman. Dontre Chapman takes it in out of the backfield. A pass and run. They take it home. And Winston-Salem has taken the lead for the first time tonight. Oh, my, what a comeback for the Rams.
What an outstanding effort by Dontre Chapman. Catches the ball. There's one blocker. There's another. 2, 3. Runs off. Get out of my way. I'm pouring the hallelujah land. Look at that. Touchdown, Winston-Salem. What a play. Dontre Chapman.
Great effort now. Now with a score on the board for Winston-Salem. That gets them up to, of course, an opportunity to do something else with it here. And again, with 10:31 to go, they're offering for the chance to go for 2. What a big game here for Winston-Salem as they try to get back in the game, and certainly done it here in the second half. Grambling has responded, of course, with a field goal and a touchdown, but a field goal and a tee here for Winston-Salem also. And they are definitely going for 2 as Woodbury has come to the sideline for the call from Coach Winbush. They still have Chapman in the game. You see his back to number 19 that made that great run. Out over the football, and here they come.
Power formation, Sam.
And the running back most likely to get it is going to be Johnson as Newkirk is out of there.
Look for option.
Chapman in motion. There's the fake. Woodbury in the end zone. Incomplete. They went for 2 on a pass, and it goes incomplete. So a big try to get it to Chapman that time, and a timeout on the field. So as the Rams try to come from behind, they get close, but not quite. As they try to look for their first lead, and they get the ball back. Right now, Grambling has the lead 18-16. We're in the 4th with 10:31 to go in the game.
At Burger King, we're always trying to make having your way better.
I love a new chicken club sandwich.
What's up with this?
It's the new chicken club. We're trying to give you the genuine club experience.
But the tasty new chicken club is excitement enough. A new way to satisfy your craving for our tender, juicy chicken sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and hickory smoked bacon for a real taste sensation anytime you want.
Can I buy you something to drink?
Burger King.
Have it your way. Ann Puffman was an upstanding officer of the law, and when it came to groceries, she couldn't believe what she saw. Why, high prices are perfectly criminal, she thought, so she dashed to Food Lion and saved on everything she bought. Oh, how she dreamed of pulling people over to say, go to Food Lion, extra low prices every day, and even saved enough money to replace her badge of old on a brand new one made of genuine 24-karat gold. Food Lion, we don't think it's funny to waste time or money.
Now is the perfect time to explore San Diego for less. Call 1-800-4-SAN-DIEGO for your free vacation planning kit and coupon book full of exclusive savings. This offer is limited, so call 1-800-4-SAN-DIEGO today and get some fun out of life.
Neath the sky of blue, greet the sun.
From San Diego, California, you see the score. Grambling State jumped out to a 9-0 lead. Battled on as they rolled into the second half with a 12-zip lead, but all of a sudden, bingo, Winston-Salem's come storming back, and Kermit Blunt's club is now within 2. Here's Thomas with another low kick and a fair catch call for again. I'm not sure what Thomas is trying to do, but he has not had a kickoff yet. And you might want to look for somebody to try to get the ball upfield for Winston-Salem. This has really hurt him.
Well, I think he's trying to pooch kick this ball, and like I said, he looked like one of my little chip shots.
Man.
He needed to go 90 yards and went about 50.
Denmark Reed was the man that made the catch there on the catch and brought it down to the 48-yard line. So that's where they'll take over. 33-yard pass on the score from Woodbury to Chapman. And again, took only 4 seconds on one play to get it done.
Well, now we're in a ball game.
Now does the defense of Winston-Salem, are they able to withstand the onslaught of Grambling now as Hayes takes a man in motion to the near side. He's back, handoff, goes to White. White sprints to the outside. Finally banged out of bounds in Winston territory at the 25, make that the 45-yard line.
So you can't keep asking the Winston-Salem defense to make big plays when they're having to go against a short field. They got the ball on the 45, so it's a 55-yard drive should Grambling score. Just a little easy draw play, semi-delayed to White. White does a good job of running the ball, but if you're a Grambling fan, you want him to stay in bounds right now.
Couple of tight ends in the game. Number 89, Fred Coggins, and also Chris Cottenham, the starting tight end, is in. So they run a double tight end situation. Wide receivers right and left. And the handoff goes. They try to get short yardage. There's White trying to break out of a tackle, but he's not going to get anywhere close to getting to the stake on a second down. They needed 4. He'll gain about a half a yard if he even gets that much.
And Thomas Washington did a great job of plugging that hole, stopping the initial charge of White, and then the remainder of the Ram defense comes in and scrapes that play up. Watch Washington, number 96. Come in and make this hit right there. Boom.
Yeah.
So White keeps his feet. He's not going to get very far because Winston-Salem's got a very good defense. They pursue very well. Jai Booty's right there to finish up the play.
By the way, Washington originally signed with Clemson, didn't project, and elected to go to Winston-Salem. So this is a big quality Division I player playing for Winston-Salem. And Hayes now calling a timeout with a third down play, facing him and not liking what he saw in the defense for Winston-Salem. So Hayes with the big numbers and 1 intercept. And, of course, that leading to an opportunity for a score that got Winston right back in the game to make it an 18-16 game. Good look at Washington there. And, of course, with his size, Stan, we talked earlier, of course, to Kermit Blunt, he felt like there was a chance for sure that this big fella, a senior, would have an opportunity to play at the next level. He's got that kind of potential.
I think so. Also, 6'4", 305 pounds. Runs very well. He's got good footwork. 17 tackles for losses this season. A guy that usually he's seen in double team. So what happens is it gives Sammy Towns, it gives Isidore when he's in quarter with an opportunity to make some big plays. But I really like Thomas Washington.
Kermit Blunt surveying what he is seeing here in San Diego. Chance to visit with both the coaches while we were here on the coast. Kermit just before the game, Doug at the hotel last evening. And both of them very delighted they've had this afforded this opportunity to come and play in a classic. Of course, for Grambling, it's old hand. For Winston-Salem, it's quite a nice little feather in their cap to win the conference and get to come and play Grambling with all the tradition that abounds behind that program.
I just like being able to go up into Kermit's office the other day. Boy, the office so big you almost need to call long distance. I mean, it's like, we're at 919 area code. You need 336, 310. I mean, oh, Kermit, I'll email you.
There's no truth to the river. It's the largest office on the campus. We promised him we wouldn't do that to him this year. 9:35 left to go in this game. It's an 18-16 game. Grambling with the lead. Washington in motion. Hayes back to throw. Flushed out of the pocket by Thomas Washington, and a good pass up to the 40-yard line. And, boy, this left-hander gets it off.